All right, so we're live. I'm gonna share the link. So it's gonna be a little bit of dead time at the beginning. Share the link to the people in the group me, and then I'll explain how I'm gonna kind of have this done. All right, so just a little. I did this. I've done this twice now. So I did this first on. I was gonna record it on the Mac, the camera, whatever it's called on the Mac, and then I decided to just go live with it. Kind of cut one step out. I did want to try to test out if I did a Google Hangout, if dudes would be able to kind of call in and like if the camera would hear what they're saying, but no one got on the group on the Google chat. So I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear as we go forward. So it's now 6:35. I had mentioned in the first time I ran this through, trying to get this done by 8. LSU versus Florida State. I've been busting my behind today to try to get these notes done for this little recap. Um, Basically, I'm gonna follow the same format as last year, except adding if dudes want to jump in and kind of debate with me about a particular team or about their specific team when I go over their team. If they're feeling like I'm saying something that incorrect or that they can strongly go against, by all means, I want to kind of include that this year. And somebody just jumped on the group. Oh, what's good, Brandon? Thank you. So what I was saying was, actually, let me finish. So Brandon, what I was trying to say was that I'm gonna do it on the YouTube live. If you ever want to jump in, if you want to kind of go back and forth with me, or if you just want to hold up until I go over your team, that's fine. But the dudes on the Google Hangout, I'm hoping that when you speak, it like you can hear it on my computer, so that I can kind of have documentation of how it goes back and forth. And what I was saying was, I'm going to review everybody's team. As if anybody wants to jump in and kind of go back and forth with me, that's fine. At the end of the review, so after I go over all 12 teams, I'll give a little brief, just a rundown of what I think at least the best drafts from 1 to 12, or well, 12 to 1 is, and then I'll finish it. Is that all right? Okay, so let's see. All right, so let me just start off. I'm going to start with just draft order, just to kind of make it as simple as possible. But I'll go from 12 to 1 in order of how they were drafted. So the first team I'm going to review is going to be Xavier's team. Xavier had the 12th pick of the draft, as I just said. He started out with Dalvin Cook. I mentioned right off the bat, a little bit for your first round pick. It scares me a little bit, just a tad. Torn ACL week like 3 or 4 last week. For him to come back, not everybody's AP. Not everybody can come back in an 8-9 month period and be themselves again. And I think it's definitely something that I get why you go. The upside is amazing, but it's definitely something that scares me just a tad. Then you went on the turn. You went with your 13th pick, Keenan Allen. Last year was the top 5 receiver. If he stays healthy without a tight end in that team, I completely see him at least redoing what he did last year, if not surpassing it. There's going to be way more touchdown opportunities in San Diego without Gates or Henry as the tight ends. So in the red zone, it's going to be Keenan Allen and Mike Williams that'll dominate those targets, and Gordon. But Keenan Allen at 13, PPR monster, over 110 or 15 receptions last year. You can kind of expect the same as long as he stays healthy. Now, the third pick was Jarvis Landry, another absolute beast in PPR. Had over 115 catches last year. I think he led the lead actually with the amount of catches that he had. Didn't hit the 1,000 yards, so he was a little bit of a weird guy that had so many catches but didn't hit that 1,000-yard limit. But I can definitely see with Tyrod or even Mayfield that Jarvis Landry is somebody that can work the slot and command a lot of targets. Even with Josh Gordon there, even with Njoku there, even with Duke Johnson, I think Jarvis Landry, even before the HBO show Hard Knocks, I thought he was going to be a solid pick. And you got him with your third pick. So just kind of reviewing, you had your stud running back, and then you had two receivers. Then you go with Royce Freeman in the fourth round. I think that I don't want to call it a steal, but I do think the value there is spectacular. Denver likes to run the ball. They got themselves a pretty stocky dude that can carry a big workload. I don't think Devontae Booker has any. There's not going to be any issues with him in the background stealing, well, not stealing work, but just even like a worry of a 50-50 split. I think Royce Freeman comes out the gate, maybe 60-40 the first game, but then from the rest of the season on, he's probably going to be the 3-down back. I think I can definitely fully see that. He can catch the ball in college. I messed up. I didn't catch those stats, but I don't want to have no awkward pauses here. I might go back with the things I need to fill in towards the end. But Royce Freeman is a stud. Then I have then you pick in the fifth round Dion Lewis. I wrote just the best backup in the league right now. Well, the highest paid backup in the league. He might not be the best. Maybe Tevin Coleman will give him a run for his money, but he's the 1A to Freeman's B. I'm sorry. He's the B to Freeman's A. I think Tevin Coleman. Oh no, I skipped the pick, but all right. No, I'm saying Dion Lewis. I'm sorry. Why am I talking about Tevin Coleman? Oh, but Dion Lewis is. I think what he can do in Tennessee is can mirror what he did with the Patriots. They have a new regime there. They have the coach that comes over from the Patriots scheme and like them. Dion Lewis last year had a breakout, and I think at the very worst he can be the third down receiver. In a PPR, half point PPR, he still has value here. I think fifth round, 60th pick is a little bit early, but I don't knock it. Because at that point, you had your two receivers, you had your two running backs. You're building a solid team. You have a balanced team. And that's the 3 years I've been doing this review for different leagues. I think that's an important thing. You don't want to have any strong, big holes in your team, at least coming out the draft. So then you went with Evan Ingram with your sixth pick, the 61st pick. I think so I wrote, I think there's a big regression here. And then I start seeing where the health concerns with certain dudes. And this is the first time it kind of popped up. Yes, you have Dalvin Cook, you have Keenan Allen, who before last season had not played over 14 games in any season. And had a couple of like maybe less than 10 game seasons. I remember last year that I was very down on him. But going forward, I think that Evan Ingram, the issue with Ingram is that concussion issues. So he now has 3 concussions in I think the last 3 years, or he had 2 last year and already has one in the preseason this year. The concussions are a little bit of an issue. On top of that, that team he's not gonna have the volume that he had last year with the Giants. OBJ is back. Barkley is there. He's still gonna be a serviceable tight end. He's gonna get red zone looks, but I don't think for the 60th pick or 61st pick, I was staying away from him because I think there's a little bit of downside. Oh, you can't see me? Or is it just the glare? Turn on the lights. All right, G. Give me a second, guys. Is that better, or I'm in front of the window because I can see myself. You can't see me? Just listen to my beautiful voice, G. So where was I? Evan Ingram. Yeah, I think he takes a step back. I don't think he's going to be bad. I think he'll still be top 10, but you're drafting him there with the 61st pick to be a top 5, maybe even a top 3 guy. You have him right behind Ertz, Kelsey, and Gronk. He's, I think, the 4th or the 5th guy that came off the board, so you drafting him to be a top 5. Next pick is Rashad Penny. You got him 7th round, 84th pick. Amazing. I think the upside there is amazing. I think you're gonna do fantastic. What's his name? Starts with a C. Carson. He's gonna start the season with the job, but I don't think he holds that job. He's had all the opportunity to be the guy in Seattle. I don't think he holds that job at all. You don't draft the guy in the first round if you don't want him to take over the job. So Rashad Penny, I think, has a lot of upside, and there's this like getting him where you got him. He's not supposed to be a starter for you. You can kind of hold it back, and he can possibly be a flex. You have a lot of potential there, and if you can just kind of hold off, you'll be all right. The next one is Andrew Luck, 8th round, 85th pick. There's no drawback with that. Like Andrew Luck, yes, I mean the health. So I had mentioned earlier Evan Ingram, Keenan, Dalvin Cook. Once again, your health is kind of where it's a little bit suspect. So Andrew Luck missing the whole year, but the upside, I cannot deny the upside of getting Andrew Luck in the 80s when he can be a star. Like, I mean, he has been a star. He's been a top 3 quarterback in the league before. Last year was the first year he missed the whole year. But that line is a little bit better. They drafted a guy and they brought somebody in, first round pick from, I think it was Notre Dame actually, that they got the draft pick from. And I think if he can hold it, like the line will be considerably better. Andrew Luck has always gotten sacked 30, 35 times. He's always led the league in sacks and still been able to perform. I think under a better line, even if it's a mediocre to good line where he doesn't get sacked 30, 40 times, maybe only 20, like he can hold up and have you a good year. And with that, I think Andrew Luck will be he can go back to top 5. And here, where you're getting him, you're not paying a premium to get him where you got him. So Luck there. Then you went with Jordy Nelson. I didn't like him last year. Even at the value, I don't like him this year where you got him. You got him at 108. Kind of the health thing comes up again. I see the upside. He's a number 2. Oakland likes. Oakland is going to air out the ball with John Gruden. I mean, they have a kind of balanced offense, but there's always one receiver that kind of stands out. I think it's Cooper, so that's why I'm kind of jumping on the Cooper bandwagon. But Jordy, for me, he's 33, torn ACL 2 years ago. I don't think he bounces back. He's not Adrian Peterson, and like the athleticism is something that was already deteriorating before he tore his ACL. I think for me, a 33-year-old guy that without Aaron Rodgers, I don't see him bouncing back to even anything relevant. Then we can kind of call it a wash. You got Ty Montgomery. I said the wrong Green Bay running back. I think Gabriel was the one that got the 2 other guys. And I think you kind of missed out on. You had your opportunity to get the 2 other guys. You took Montgomery. I don't think that's gonna hold up for you. Then you got Tyler Lockett. I like the upside. No problem with that. Adrian Peterson, once again, a good flyer. You got him at 133, pick 12. Corey Clement. Another high upside like backup that can not take over the job, but you got AP who's going to be the starter, Corey Clement who's the number 2, but he's a strong 2. You got the Panthers D, and then what I wrote kind of like to summarize it up a little bit and to kind of get through your team as quickly as possible was that I think you have a balanced team, some injury concern, but nothing like you kind of spread it out. So where I saw some guys last year had injury concerns at the top, like OD at the top, you kind of spread it out. And then, it's I think you have a very balanced team that's going to do pretty well this season. So we're going to move back. I don't know if X is on the chat or on the Hangout, but he hasn't said anything, so I'm going to just keep going. All right, so Renee had pick 11. He started out strong this year. I think is a pattern of Renee. He starts his drafts off strong. I think last year he had the top 4 or 5 picks that we loved, and then he kind of fell apart after that. I'm foreshadowing again, but so he picked Kareem Hunt, pick 11. Then he took Leonard Fournette, pick 14. 2 out of the top 6 or 7 running backs in the league last year. He started off super strong. Like you kind of locked down that position, and nobody's competing with you. Well, I mean, very few people can compete with what you have at the position. Then you took Zach Ertz, 3rd pick of the 35th pick. Good, man. I don't like taking a tight end that early, but I guess the top 3 are so far above the rest of the pack that it makes it worth it. So you took him last 3 seasons, 70 catches, 800 yards at the very least. The touchdowns is where he's a little bit of a, like a hit or miss type of dude. He's never had, I think, over 6 or 7. So that's where he's Kelsey and Gronk kind of separate themselves. Kelsey gets the yards, Gronk gets the touchdowns and the yards. Ertz is like he's definitely the third guy on that list, but no beef with you taking him on the third or as the third pick. My beef kind of comes where you didn't kind of fill the rest of the team out once you did that. So then you took Brandon Cooks, who moving to LA. There's a lot of question marks. I think the talent is there. The dude has let me just see, three straight over 1,000-yard receivings. I'm sorry, 3 straight years of having over 1,000 yards receiving. He's had at least 7 touchdowns each year. So last year was his low with 7. He had 8 the year before, 9 the year before that. So he has a high floor, but he's always had beast quarterbacks. So he went from Drew Brees to Tom Brady. He's been successful. He's never blown up to what we thought the potential was. So that's the thing. He's young. He's only 25. He's going into his 4th year in the league. Is it 4th? No, 5th year in the league. He's only going to be 25 this year. So it's crazy. Like we always think of the potential because he's already hit the 1,000-yard limit and then gotten the touchdowns. But it's like he's never put it together to where he's like top 5. And that's the potential that we see with him. Well, that's the potential that we all kind of buy into. You know, he had Breeze, he had Brady. He's never lived up to that. But as your first receiver, there's a little bit of question marks because he's going to LA. But I see why you take him in. I'm not gonna kill you for that. There's definitely value there. And if he ever does put it together and have a 1,400-yard, 1,500-yard season, then it's like it sucks because he has a talent. It's just like he's been on these teams that spread the ball out, and he's going to another situation with Woods and Cooper Kupp where he's not the clear number 1. So it's gonna be a lot of the same type of situation. So hopefully he gets over 1,000. He kind of lives up to where you took him as your first receiver here. Then you took Sammy Watkins. I don't hate him. I don't love him either, but I think the Mahomes kind of what's the word that I'm looking for here? Question mark or like the wild card. The Mahomes wild card definitely gives you an opportunity to kind of live up and I think that Sammy Watkins has an opportunity because of the Mahomes wild card. He has a cannon. So Sammy could be a dude that catches 60 passes but goes over 1,000 easily. So he's averaging, over 15 to 16 yards a catch, and that's beast. Move on. So I actually like him. So you have your 2 running backs, amazing running backs. You got 2, one good receiver, one that has great upside. Then you took Randall Cobb. I don't like him, but after a lot of times what happens in these reviews is that I kind of get to the point where I'm looking up dude stats and looking up what they've done. I don't like Cobbs. I don't like him at all. But with Aaron Rodgers there, he is the number 2 in that offense. He hasn't he's always played 3 kind of behind Jordy Nelson, and it's always been kind of not always, but he's never kind of stepped up. That's the thing. So I'll move on from him, but I don't like Cobbs that much, but he's your 3rd receiver. Then you went Carson Wentz. He might not play the first couple of games, but I think if what we saw in about a 10-week span last year, if that's real, then you're good. This is an amazing pick and you're fine. The thing is, in the first year, he didn't have that kind of lightning rod. And yes, he was a rookie, but if that's not real, he made all the passes. He looked sharp. In the group me we talked about with Antonio, where he knows how to make all the reads. He can make the outs, he can make the skinny post. He knows all the different. He knows how to read defenses. He seems to be the guy, but it's only 10 games. So that's the issue. Give me 1 second, guys. So I know there's gonna be a little bit of dead air, but I'm trying to chat with the people that are interested in this. So there's Wentz is still good value. There's nothing really, but here's where it kind of falls apart. And you have these points in these drafts. I don't know. I mean, you was on vacation this year, so that's part of it. But you took Greg the Leg, 8th pick, 82nd pick, 86 overall, and not to shit on you, bro, because I want you to do well in this league. But that kind of it derails your draft because he's the top kicker, but I don't even want to like waste the time, but the amount of value that was available from pick 86 to 107 before you drafted again, those 23 or 24 picks, like you could miss out on a stud starter, like that can kind of help your team. Your receivers that weren't super strong at that point, there's a lot of upside guys that could have like changed the makeup of your whole team. So you go from top 6, top 7, you're building a playoff contender to like you're bottom of the league by taking a running kicker that early. And I'm not trying to, once again, I love you, but it's like shit like this is like what can derail a contender, right? So you have the best kicker, but you could have waited. It's fine. You want to take them early. You could have waited round 12, round 13. If you don't want to wait till the absolute end, there's still like opportunity to get them later. All right, so I'm trying to limit the dead air. I'm sorry about that. All right, so Zerline, then you took Sanu. I don't like him. They drafted Ridley this year. You got Julio. I don't think Sanu – I mean, he's going to be the third receiver. I think Ridley overtakes that second position early. And Sanu is a guy that's never – I don't think he's ever gone over 700 yards, which isn't bad for, like, this late in the draft. But there's upside guys that you could go with there than these kind of, like, low upside type of dudes. Like, what their floor is. They're kind of consistent. I think here – you needed a little bit more kind of in your wide receivers. Like I think Sanu takes a step back, and so I don't think he's going to be helping your team when all the buys start. He's not a guy that you're going to be like, oh, I'm starting Sanu this weekend. You're going to be comfortable doing that. The next one is Sony Michel. Now this one, I said I like these types of picks during this late of the pick, later of the draft. So number 10, 110, Sony Michel. The Patriots don't draft dudes in the first round, so. The fact that he got drafted in the first round, like running backs, in the first round, and the fact that he did get drafted means they're gonna find a spot for him. I don't usually like Patriots running back situations like Rex Burkhead. Late on, he's never done it. He's not gonna be good this year and then especially you have James White, and then you got the kid Sony Michel. They saw something in him. They traded up to get him. He's gonna have a good role where he's getting work in this offense. I don't think past 2 or 3 weeks that he may not be playing because he missed a lot of time in training camp. That's the only reason he even fell this late, because he missed time in training camp. But the dude is gonna eat. He's gonna be good, man. He's gonna be a solid dude. By week 5, 6, we can bank on him getting a strong workload in that offense. As long as he doesn't fumble, which he hasn't had issues with that at Georgia, he didn't have issues with that in training camp. Like before he got hurt, he's gonna be all right, man. So I think that's a solid like steal. And your running backs at this point, you ain't missing much with your running backs. Then you took Danny Amendola. I just wrote blah. Once again, another dude I don't see a lot of upside, especially with the Dolphins. They got a lot of dudes there that are like mediocre. Stills, Parker that's never done it, and Amendola. You got a lot of like, And is Tannehill even like what is Tannehill? I don't think he's probably top 28 in the league. Like Keenum maybe be behind him. He ain't that good. Maybe top 25. I'm sorry, but still, he's not a good. He ain't moving that team alone. Then you took the Rams. I don't mind the Rams. I don't mind that you took them a little bit round 12. That's fine. You took Ben Watson. You already had a tight end. You got Ertz. I don't know why you went with Watson there. I think, again, I thought your receivers were weak. You probably didn't think that. but I don't get why you take like Watson is not good enough that you're gonna throw him in your flex. Like there's times that people have done the two tight end thing, but they get Jordan Reed and Ertz, or it was last year where it was Gronk and Ertz. That's you're gonna start Ertz in your flex. You're probably never starting Watson in your flex. You're only gonna start him if God forbid something happens to Ertz or if it's a bye week for Ertz. So I didn't think you needed to take him there. You could have streamed as a backup. He would have been on. Nobody would have dropped him. Then you took Des Bryant. If he gets signed, like he should get signed, but he's asking for a lot of money. If he gets signed, then he's gonna be a good value. I just think that I don't mind it. Like he has upside, and you needed a good receiver. So if he goes to a team like, let's even say Tennessee, for instance, I doubt it, but somebody like that Corey Davis hasn't stepped up. You got a team, maybe the Jets, that they got these guys that have overperformed or haven't really stepped up to that number one receiver role. Like you got good, Robbie Anderson or somebody like that who you put Dez in there, who's a touchdown vulture. He can get 10 touchdowns on a lot of these different teams. Maybe Chicago. He was going to go to the Browns, but a team like that. But if he's not trying to take a pay cut, he might not sign until it's week 6, week 8, where it's not even going to be worth it for you. By the time he learns the offense, by the time he gets accustomed to the team, it's probably not even going to be valuable to you. That's the thing. It's kind of a give or take. You could have taken a rookie there or somebody that doesn't have that baggage, and you probably get more value out of the person. Then you took Matt Ryan. No beef with that. You needed a backup for Wentz who might not play the first couple games, so that was good. I liked your running backs. Really liked your running backs. Your QBs are good. I like the kicker. It's not that I don't like Greg the Leg. I think he's gonna set you apart, but not where you got him. He's not. He's only maybe 10, 20 points better than the next guy up. That's not worth taking in the 8th round. It's never gonna be worth it. And then you have a real weakness at wide receiver. So, I think with like solid management, you can do a lot this year. But that you had a really strong start, and that it kind of just threw it off. And that's it's like what if? Like I feel like your team is what if you could have had all those players from about 80 to 109 that were there that would have any one of those receivers that went there with solid value that could have been just a number 3 flex type player that would have made your team a little bit better. But I mean, it is what it is. So we move on. So the 10th pick was me. I might remove my team at the very end, but I'm not gonna waste time early on. Like if I have energy at the end. So Gabriel, you're next. So let me just tell G that he's up.
Is huge. A wall down the middle, a wall over here, and we had so many problems, especially with structuralists. We had to redraw the plans and new permits. We ended up way behind our timeline, but it's still all good to go.
So okay, Dudes is asking me for a letter grade. I guess I didn't prepare for that, but I'll just say if I'm gonna give, I'll give the first team. So who was first? I'll just give it like kind of off the top. I think Xavier was a B minus. I think Renee, you're looking at a C minus, a D. Like it was kind of a little bit bad there. So I guess I'll just give a grade, and then kind of while I'm going through it, that'll let y'all know kind of where I rank people. And then I'll just do the final ranking at the end. All right, so Gabriel, I don't know if you're still on. All right, so I'm just going to start G because I also don't want to have this. I think I'm doing pretty good on time compared to last year. So I'm just trying to get through this, trying to watch this LSU football game. So, all right. Gabriel, I love the way you started your draft, bro. OBJ, pick 10. No, I'm sorry, pick 9. And then Michael Thomas, pick 16. Like I think you got two of the top 5 receivers in the draft. I think people sleep on Michael Thomas. I don't understand why. Like to me, and I mean, if you look at rankings across the board, he's like ranked 10, 11. Like he's first round talent, and he's constantly going middle of the second round, sometimes later in the second round. I don't understand it. I think he's only been in the league well, this is going to be his 3rd year, but he's only somebody say something? Okay. He's only been in the league 2 years, but since he was drafted, he's number 2 behind Antonio Brown. So he's behind Antonio Brown. Just a beast. And I don't know why he doesn't get picked up earlier, but still, actually. So you got OBJ, Michael Thomas. You probably got 2 out of the top 4 to 5 receivers in the draft. Then you got Diggs, who I love the upside with. Last year between him and Thielen, he was the worst of the 2. But it was more of a hamstring injury here and there that kept him out of a couple of games than him not being a good value or a good pick. What up, X? You missed your pick. You missed your review, but I'll go over it quick if you want me to. Let me just finish G. You said you just have a question?
No, I said you're not that important. I need you to rephrase my review for the reigning champ.
All right, so I gave you a B. And but let me finish G because, bro, it's gonna get tricky if I just stop in the middle.
No, go ahead.
I got you. So then you took Diggs. So I love the 3 receivers that you took early on at G. There was no beef that you went no running back because the 3 receivers you got are gonna carry your team and could carry any they're gonna be. I think Diggs could be top 15, maybe a little bit better than that. Like he can creep up to the top 10 if he just stays healthy. If he doesn't miss those 2-3 games that he missed last year, there's no doubt in my mind that he would have upended Thielen in that offense, and not by just the touchdowns, because Thielen is the PPR beast. He's the one he caught 90 passes last year. But I think Diggs was the overall threat, the big play threat. Then you go Alex Collins. So I mentioned before that he made me a little bit nervous, but you sacrifice your running backs to have the beast the 3 receivers. I think last year he had 973 yards, and that was only in 12 games. So he's definitely, if he just stays healthy, he's definitely a candidate to cross that 1,000 easily, 1,100, maybe potentially 1,200 yards, which is not a bad for your number 1 running back. So I was scared of him, but once I looked up how he did when he took the job over last year, I can see the point that you were trying to make. Then you went Carlos Hyde. That's the first thumbs down that you get on what you drafted. Yes, he's done well so far with the Browns, but the Browns have Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson there. He's not a 3-down back. He's not even guaranteed to be a 2-down back after 2 or 3 weeks. So to take him as your second running back at pick 57, I think that's kind of where the first pick that you made that I was suspect with, G. Kind of moving on, Emmanuel Sanders as your flex, your 4th receiver. No beef with that. If Case Keenum is even decent this year, I think you can kind of get a lot of value from your flex having him there. And if, God forbid anything happens to your top 3, that's a solid backup that you have there. Then you took Burton, love him. In a PPR league, I wish we were full PPR. We got to talk about potentially going to that next year. But, so yeah, I did say, so Brandon's hyping it up in the chat, but I did say Carlos Hyde can eat a dick. That is very true. I think I love Burton though. So Burton on Chicago, I think he's a safety valve for Trubisky. Trubisky's gonna like the middle of the field. Antonio says he can do all the routes. I didn't see that last year. He was missed the check down last year. I did not see him taking any chances. And yeah, you can kind of call that a product of the offense. The coordinators trying to protect him. I never saw him go downfield last year. So I don't see Allen Robinson taking a big leap. I actually see Burton taking a big leap because the middle of the field, those short routes, those kind of bail your quarterback out of your trouble routes. Burton's going to be the guy. So I think Burton there was he's a guy that was going 110, 100. That I don't mind you taking him at 80 because he could be a top 5, top 4 tight end. He can Evan Ingram, Olsen, those type of guys. He can be in front of them and be just right behind those top 3, those top 4 guys. Then you took Jamal Williams, and then later on you took Aaron Jones. So you locked down the Packers running backs. That I loved. I didn't really like Hyde at all, but I think you locking down the Packer running backs, you went strong with the wide receivers early, and then you kind of locked up a backfield that whoever the guy is, when that kind of settles itself out, because I think they're gonna have one guy. I don't think that they're gonna have this committee the whole way out. I think the only reason Aaron Jones isn't the guy is because he got suspended. So I think, and even if it is Jamal Williams, I think they like to have one guy take the role. So I think you're gonna be all right there. In between that, you took you took Cousins and Nelson Aguilar. Great upside guys. So like the only pick I hated was Carlos Hyde so far. Everything else I have no problem with. Then you took you took my boy John Ross. Bro, huge upside. Didn't play last year because of the injury, but he was a top 5 pick. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate you. But I think John Ross has the ability to potentially, I don't want to say take over AJ Green. That's not gonna happen. AJ Green has like 7 or 8 years of over 1,000 yards. I wrote that down for whenever I get to his review. But I think that offense can have 3 guys eat. So I think John Ross can be the deep threat guy in that offense with Mixon kind of, with a better offensive line, Mixon, AJ Green, and then Eifert is the one that's always injured. But even if Eifert just plays a little bit, that offense could be a lot better than it was last year. And a lot of people are talking up the Ravens offense in that division. I actually think Cincy can take a step up. The defense is not good this year, but I think that actually helps you and it helps that offense because I think they're going to be behind a lot, and they're gonna be very playing catch up a lot. So I think Dalton gets a lot of garbage time, garbage time points and garbage time fantasy love. I think that you're gonna that John Ross pick at pick 136 could be something that you're throwing in your flex or trade bait because you have these great receivers that you already have. Then you took Tywan Taylor. He's all right. No beef. We were kind of throwing, darts to a blank board at that point. But Broncos defense and Matt Prater, that's all right. I think so. Just because I think Brandon had asked me to give grades earlier. The only pick I hated was Hyde. Everything else I probably thought you got good value. You shored up the Green Bay backfield, and then your receivers are top echelon. Your QB is solid. You kind of have you were balanced, and you have not balanced because you punted running back early, but you made up for it late. So I'm gonna give you an A- or an A. I think G had and then compared to last year, where you had a lot of injury-prone dudes, you kind of took the risk on one guy, and that's really only OBJ. And from he signed a big contract. Yes, there's always the threat that somebody injures their ankle again. Like ankle injuries on receivers is pretty tough to judge. But other than that, this is like a completely different roster than you had last year. And I think this is a solid. You're gonna compete. As long as you don't, it's about not throwing it away. But I think you got a playoff contender and probably one of the strongest teams in the league. All right, so I'll kind of go backwards, and for people that are watching this all the way through, I guess just skip the next 3 minutes because I'm gonna kind of just review X. Are you still there? Nope. X is blanking me out. So I'll keep moving forward. If X jumps back in, all right. So how you check? Let me just give the link to Vic. All right, so let me take a break. I'm thirsty. Sorry. All right, so that was pick 9. We're gonna move to pick 8. Oh, Vic is on you. So I don't know if Vic wants to jump in. No, this is coconut water and whiskey, bro. So I'm doing all right. Trying to drink healthy.
you think that Beatrice will love the layout with 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and just over 2,400 square feet, it is perfect for future family planning. I just haven't been rated as a family in extra space, especially with access.
All right, so I'll start. Actually, let me start writing these grades. Because at the end, I feel like I'm gonna have to defend these grades. All right, so Tejada, you had pick 8. I think these picks that went either really late in the first round had like kind of you doubled up on a little bit of a strategy where Renee did it. He went 2 running back. G did it. He went 2 receivers. You did 2 running backs, and I think the value that you got was actually solid as well. So you did Kamara, number 8. Got no problem with that. You didn't reach like there's a lot of dudes taking them number 4, number 5, like skipping on Antonio Brown or Zeke. I think that's crazy. But here, it's the perfect value. I think he can be better than Kareem Hunt. I think Hopkins and him, I was happy getting Hopkins because you kind of skipped on him. But there's no beef with you taking Kamara. Those first 4 games, he can potentially run away with the job. I think Ingram still has his position, his spot in that lineup, in that team. But I think he can do something that we didn't see even last year, where if he's getting 20 touches a game and he's as efficient as he was last year, even if it takes a little bit of a hit, he was averaging like 5.6 yards per carry. You don't see that. You were seeing on his receptions he was getting. I think that's the thing that I'm a little bit shaky. I don't want to waste time kind of looking it up, but even that was elite. He had elite levels of efficiency when he got his hands on the ball. So we're going to see regression on that, absolutely. But if he has more volume, then there's no beef with Kamara. I feel like I'm wasting time at this point, but I think great pick. Then you took McCaffrey, who Matthew Berry loves. I don't love him, but I don't dislike him. I think he definitely takes a step up because in the preseason, what we're seeing is that he is getting the work, where last year he wasn't getting the runs. Already in the preseason, he got like 15, 18 carries in the 3rd game. Like that to me, not 15. I think it was like 10 to 12, but the first 2 quarters of the game in preseason, that's a lot of work that early. So if you kind of project it out, if he's going to get that many runs, he's going to be a focal point of that offense. They talked about that he bulked up. He talked about that he bulked up a little bit, which is usually a bad thing for running backs. But he looked great. He did well in the preseason. I didn't watch the game. I saw highlights. But what I'm saying is he had the work. He's gonna be a PPR. Like the catches are gonna be there. Last year, let me see if I wrote it down because I'm talking a lot, but I thought I wrote it down. Nope, I didn't write it down. But last year, I think he had over 60 or 70 catches. That's a lot for a rookie running back. And if he gets the rushing, he's gonna be great. So you went Kamara, McCaffrey, then you went Tyreek Hill. So this will be his 3rd year in the league. And then after going 1,183 yards last year, somebody mute your mic, somebody, because I can hear myself. It's a really bad echo. Thank you, G. So after, damn, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so Tyreek Hill, he went 1,183 yards last year. That was with Kelsey. That was with Hunt. Yes, you add Watson to that equation. I don't think the work goes away with Mahomes. I think Mahomes has a cannon, and I think it's not only going to be good for Watson. Of course, it's going to be good for Hill, who's I think what's his Twitter is like, I'm faster than you or something like that. He's really one of the fastest dudes in the league. Excuse me. And there's nothing about Tyreek Hill that I don't like. And you had him last year. He's a solid number 1 receiver. Yes, not everybody's going to say that. I think in that offense, he's always going to be a threat to hit an 80-yard, 70-yard touchdown. So then you had the first pick that you had that I thought was suspect, and somebody had to draft him, right? So you took Kenyon Drake. I don't want to say he's a bum. So I want to say he's a bum, but he's super suspect. Wait, the Czar. Who the hell is that talking about? Who's the Czar? Anyway, so you went Kenyon Drake in the 4th round with your 41st pick, I thought that's the first one that I thought was not elite. That wasn't a good pick. He's never had more than 150 carries. That is all his time in Alabama. That's all his time in Miami. And we're expecting him to take the number 1 role. That's why they brought in Gore. They're scared that he can't handle the workload. And I think I really think that that's going to be problematic for you. So somebody just jumped in on the czar. I don't know who that is, but I just gave him advice. Go with Fuller as your flex. No. Well, Marvin Jones too, but I like Fuller. Then lost my train of thought. But Kenyon Drake as your number 2 running. Well, he'd be your number 3 running back at this point. But I don't think he, even in your flex, I don't think he kind of is going to live up to the value there. But then you went Robert Woods with your 5th pick in the 56th round. 5th round, 56th pick. No beef with Robert Woods there. I think he's going to be okay. He's your 2nd receiver, but then you kind of made up for your lack of receivers at this point. Then you went Devin Funchess, who's the first guy in the Panthers. I got no beef with him. You took the number 1 guy. There's absolutely no problem with that. Other than that, then you took Will Fuller. I love his upside. So whoever those are has just asked me about him. I think with Watson there, Will Fuller was a beast at Notre Dame. He showed how great he can be in a very short period of time with a guy that can throw the ball. I think the problem with when Watson went down is that Fuller he looked lost because he's not a great route runner, but he's a burner. So if you got a guy that can throw the deep pass, he's gonna go up there and get it. It was what he did in Notre Dame. It's what he did in a very 4 or 5 game period where he scored 8 or 9 touchdowns. No, I'm sorry. It was about a 4 or 5 game period where he scored 7 touchdowns. That's ridiculous. If Watson is healthy and all signs show that he's gonna be the top, that he's gonna be ready for game 1, he played in the preseason. I think Watson is gonna not only DeAndre Hopkins, but I think Fuller is also the guy that you cannot count out. So you took him with the 80th pick. That's your number 4 receiver. Well, the 4th receiver that you took in the draft. Absolutely, I love him. Then you took Cooper Kupp, bro. So if you can tell, I liked your draft. You went. I said it in person, and I think you got both guys in LA with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. And then you got Devin Funchess, Will Fuller in the middle of that, and Tyreek Hill. So you went heavy with the running back early, but you did what you're supposed to do when you do that. You went receiver, high upside, or guys that have the number 1 job in their team. Bro, you did what you have to do, and you followed. I don't know if it was a formula, but how it played out. You had a plan, and you kind of stuck with it, or you adapted really quickly on the fly. Then you took Kyle Rudolph. I think with Cousins with Cousins taking over in Minnesota, Jordan Reed 8, Vernon Davis 8. That the tight end on that team, even when at all those years that Jordan Reed got hurt, backups did all right. Vernon Davis, who's 38, I don't know if he's 38, but he's over 35, had a career resurgence. It was like Vernon Davis from San Francisco when he was 23, 24. Like he looked like a young guy that was always in position because Cousins know how to find open guys. So Kyle Rudolph on that team with Thielen and Diggs, who are going to draw a lot of attention from the safeties deep. I think definitely Kyle Rudolph underneath, he might catch 80 passes again. He's not going to get 1,000 yards, but he might catch 75 to 80 catches and have 7 to 10 touchdowns. That's a beast. I think he has upside, and when you got him at 104, no beef with him. Then you took Allen Hurns, and then in hindsight, it was a really good pick. I don't want to say really good. I don't think that Dallas passing game is going to be that good, but you still took number 1 guy at pick 113. So on a team that, is not, I don't think the offense is great, but I think you got number 1 quarterback and you still kind of living. Like, that's fantastic. Then you took Big Ben. That was your 11th pick, 128. Bro, you got last year top 5 quarterback, and you got him at 128. You were disciplined. You did what you had to do. There's a solid team. He can't. He for whatever reason he sucks on the road, or he's not as great on the road. But I think Big Ben with the 128th pick at 11th round, bro, that's a steal. Like, you know what? You did well. Like your draft was balanced and level. Then you took Paul Richardson, who I had to look up because I was kind of iffy about him. He had 44 catches, 703 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's like elite levels of efficiency. I think it averages like 17, 18 yards per catch. So yes, that's with Wilson. But I mean, going to Washington, I think. No, I'm sorry. Is he still with? No, he's not with Washington. Whatever. Wherever he's at, he's gonna be all right. Like 44, 703, 6 touchdowns. That's not bad. And then you took the Vikings defense, potential for a top 3 defense. Then you took C.J. Anderson, who I don't care for, but because you have McCaffrey, it makes sense. So it makes a lot of sense to pick who is Paul Richardson. But it makes sense that you took C.J. Anderson, the backup. If anything happens to McCaffrey, you got the guy that's gonna take the job and potentially could steal a lot of goal, not a lot of goal line work, but some of the goal line work. There, he was a bum in Denver. I hated him. I still do, but you have McCaffrey. Does not hurt to take the handcuff. Then you took Elliott from the Eagles, and I just wrote big leg. So even in your kicker, in the very last round, very last pick of the draft, you took a guy that made a 60-yard field goal to win a game last year. He has a huge leg, and you got a guy that's gonna consistently at least make, he's gonna make over 50-yard field goals, and he has a history of it. That team's offense is gonna be not gonna be great, but the defense is gonna carry that team, so they're always gonna be in good field position. You got a top 3 kicker in the last round. Not 3, but like top 5, which isn't bad. So, and Paul Richardson, just to confirm, he is still with Washington. So after Baldwin, who's gonna catch the ball over there? So even then, you got somebody that you all right, bro. So as y'all can see, it was kind of rave reviews for Victor's team. I'm gonna give it on the fly. So I'm gonna also give that an A. And so with that, I'm gonna wrap up Victor's review. I'm gonna keep moving it along. So Freddie had pick 7. I'll just put it in the group chat. I'm doing decent on time. I'm gonna try to get through this quick because Florida State, let us shoot. Let's go. All right. So you took with number 7. You took Freddie took Freddie's team was the Netherworld, and his first pick was Julio Jones. So, like I said, I guess the people late in the draft, because you're kind of following a theme, took Julio, and then he took AJ. I'll kind of go over Julio. So Julio, to me, is the fact that he was falling this late, and granted, in the first round, there's running back deep, and it was running back heavy. But he still was, I think, second or third receiver last year behind Hopkins and Brown. Had 1,400 yards. The only thing that held them back was the touchdowns. I think the addition of Ridley actually is going to help him, where people have been talking about it kind of hurting him. I think Ridley's he's a solid receiver that's going to draw attention off of the constant double and triple teams that he gets in the red zone. I think that's partially why Sanu gets no respect. Sanu is a very average receiver. I think Ridley, coming from Alabama, game-winning touchdowns in the championship game of the national championship, like he's used to pressure. He can run routes. He's a talented guy. And not to toot Ridley's horn, but them taking him in the first round is going to help Julio, at least with the touchdowns. He may lose yardage, so he's done. What was it? So he's Yeah, so he's had over 1,400 yards the last 3 years. And then the touchdowns was like the low touchdowns, he has to regress the right way. So people think about regression the wrong way, like, oh, he did too well last year. No, he's done the 1,400 yards has been a floor. It's just the touchdowns is what held him back last year. Had he only had 5 or 6, we're talking about him with Hopkins. We're talking about him potentially with Antonio Brown. That's all he had the yardage. So then you went AJ Green, 7 out of 8 years with over 1,000 yards. The 1 year he didn't get 1,000, he was at 960. It's the year he got hurt, which was 2 years ago, where he got hurt like week 10 or 11. He was on track to have an amazing year. Other than that, he's only missed time. So he's been in the league 8 years. He's only missed time 2 years out of those 8. Now, we know about McKinnon, and that's going to be, we're going to kind of talk about McKinnon, but where you can't predict these injuries, you did well, at least with the receivers early on just getting dudes that are solid value and that are not injury prone. Let's just continue. So I overhyped. People are mad about Victor's. People are mad about Victor's review, but I think he had a good team, so y'all can deal with it. If y'all wanted to jump in on the chat, like, I got no problem with y'all giving me like instant feedback if y'all want to. Just let me know, and I'll kind of jump in on that. Like to actually talking on this because I'm talking a lot. So Julio, AJ, great first, second. Then you went McKinnon, bro. In hindsight, like hindsight is 100%. 100% is 2020. So we can't. I was worried about the risk just because he's never done it, but I see the upside and I see why you did it. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time like berating you about this because Shanahan loves running backs. He likes to put them in prominent positions. You can go back to when he was like, I think he's been around forever, but in Atlanta was his most recent stop. Devontae Freeman, his first year was a bomb. Freeman did not do shit. You bring in Shanahan, and then that second year he became MVP candidate, top 2 or 3 running back for those 2 or 3 year period where he was elite, getting over like 1,700 yards. So Shanahan, he likes to kind of, and he had the same body size of Freeman, so that's why people were drawing those kind of conclusions, those similarities in the two. So they gave him the big contract. You did not do bad and kind of drafting him there. We can't predict people non-contact injuries, bro. That could have happened at any point during the year. It's not even, he didn't take a big hit. It wasn't like a preseason game. It was, you can't prepare for that. So that's enough about him. Then you took Allen Robinson as your number 3. I said not bad. So I don't love him. I don't think Trubisky is great. I don't think, if Trubisky takes a step up, he's going to be all right. But Allen Robinson as your 3, he had 1,400 yards in 2015. Then, he tore his ACL last year. He had one bad year in between. But, the upside, he's still, I think, 25, 26. There's worse that you could have done there. Brandon, no reason. Like, I think McKinnon in the 3rd round, I saw people taking him in the 2nd. Like, I'm not mad about McKinnon. Yes, there was other options there that he could have taken, but that's late 3rd too. If you think about it, that's his late 3rd round pick. I'll move on. You took Marshawn Lynch. I was like, no, thank you. I don't like old guys. I'm an ageist, as we'll come to see sometimes. I haven't brought it up that much today, but Marshawn Lynch, you kind of go on a spree of like older guys because even Julio, AJ, they're up there, 28, 29. Then you took Marshawn Lynch, who's 32. You took Brady, who's 41. You took Jimmy Graham, who's 32, coming off torn Achilles? No, torn patella tendon. So you had 3 straight picks where I'm like, exactly, Marshawn Lynch, yuck. And, if I think I don't like him there. I think last year he had a good year towards the end because they weren't throwing the ball at all. They kind of abandoned the pass and were running it every game, giving him 20 touches. He's not going to get that volume this year. They're not. That's not the game they're going to play. They trade away Mac. They're going to be involved in a lot more, not blowouts, but like, why am I blanking on the word? High scoring games, basically. So they're going to be in a lot of high scoring games. There's not going to be a lot of room for them to run the ball often. I don't see that at all. Other than that, Brady, I don't dislike. Like just the age thing scares me, and a lot of the quarterbacks are older. So Breeze is 39, Rodgers is like 34, 35. Like most of them are older, and it seems like the older guys have been able to dominate their offenses. They know their offenses in and out. It just worries me that 41 is not even 38, 39. There's a lot of hits on that body. They protect the quarterback decent in that offense, and he's the GOAT or one of the GOATs. Whatever. I hate him, but he's clutch. But he also fell off last season towards the end. Like he had a really mediocre end of the season last year. So you having him there in the playoffs, he completely fell off. So it's something to just keep in mind. Jimmy Graham, I think he should be good. A full year after the injury, after the torn patella, he's gonna be with Aaron Rodgers, who people think elevates tight ends. He never has. So it's kind of like a false pretense. He's had decent tight ends. Michael Bennett last year did nothing with him. Was it Bennett? It's something Bennett, not Michael Bennett. It's the other Bennett. But he had, he's had decent tight ends, and I don't think he's ever had a top 10 tight end. I think that's the fun fact about Aaron Rodgers. Google what it is. Maybe never a top 15. Like he's never had a good tight end on his team. Well, someone he's elevated. You think Aaron Rodgers, who can elevate somebody like Jordy Nelson, who may not be the greatest guy, but was able to elevate him. He's never done it with a tight end. So Jimmy Graham is good. He scored what was it? How many touchdowns he had last year? I didn't write it down. I think he had 8 or 9. I think that's where he got a lot of his value. He didn't have a big catch season. He did not have a lot of receptions, a lot of receiving yards, but he scored a lot of touchdowns. I think if he's recovered from the injury and he doesn't, because last year he looked a little bit slower. Jimmy Graham, what brought him back in New Orleans, what set him apart was his athleticism. So if he can come back to that, bro, I think Jimmy Graham there is not a bad pick. And you didn't reach for him. I saw him going a lot earlier, 5th, 6th round. You got him towards the end of the 7th round. I'm not beefing with you there. Then you took Tevin Coleman. And you took him a little bit late. He kind of fell because I saw him going a lot earlier. Deion Lewis, I mentioned earlier that he's a good, like the top backup. I think Tevin Coleman is right. Them are neck and neck. So if anything would have happened to Freeman, he's definitely the guy that. And like last year, Derrick Henry was the guy that if anything happened to DeMarco Murray, you wanted to have Derrick Henry. This year is definitely Coleman. So I think people kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Disregard that he was drafted to be the guy. So Freeman played a year in, was it 2014? Was Basura in 2014. Tevin Coleman was drafted in 15 as the 2nd round pick. He was the starter in training camp. He was the starter in preseason. He got a concussion. From then on out, it was Freeman's job. But it's not that like he doesn't have the pedigree behind that offensive line that has elevated Freeman. I think Coleman, and he's shown in spurts. He's definitely shown in spurts. Whenever Freeman is not playing or he's not playing well, Coleman is a guy that I thoroughly, I wish I would have had him. And where you got him, you didn't have to reach for him. So, yeah, you lost McKinnon. And Lynch is kind of but having what's his name, Tevin Coleman. Then you took Peyton Barber, who I don't love, but Peyton Barber kind of late is gonna give you value as well. So you got Peyton Barber, who at least for now is the starter. You're gonna have to make up the McKinnon thing, but if I'm looking at you objectively after draft day, I'm not mad at your draft. So you did all right on draft day. You then took So after Tevin Coleman at pick 90, you took Josh Dotson at pick 103, your ninth round. I love Josh Dotson. I don't got much else to say. He's a big, fast dude. I think with Alex Smith there, he's missed time because of like soft tissue injuries. But I think I think Dotson has a big future, and I think it starts this year. And if it doesn't happen this year, then he's gonna be out the league. So I think getting him there. Your receiving core, there's nothing wrong with your receivers. It's just a lot of beef with your running backs. So I took about Peyton Barber. You took Deshaun Jackson. I'm sorry. He's 31. Another old guy. I was like, I'm not. I don't like him. Last year he had 50 catches, 668 yards, a waste of a pick. Then you took Theo Riddick, who I mean, with the injury, you're gonna need him to do something. So he's caught over 60 catches the last 4 or 5 years. His entire time in Detroit, he's been over 60. So I wrote he's okay. You know, like what else are you gonna do that late in the draft? You kind of throwing darts at a blank canvas, paint at a blank canvas. You then took Anthony Miller, who I love the upside. Like if Trubisky does anything, if he steps his game up this year, babe, I got a big glare on my glasses, so if you trying so so if Anthony Miller, I'm sorry guys, quick second. There's a beast glare, like I mean, hopefully not, right? Where was I? Okay, Anthony Miller, great pick, good upside. The Cardinals D is basura this year though, so you picked up the Cardinals D, you're gonna be streaming the entire year. They lost Natu. They lost a couple people that they're gonna be traka. So first team is just Josh. George's words. I mean, to an extent, yeah. Like, so if I'm giving, and that's kind of where I'm gonna sum up Freddie's team. I love his receivers early. His receivers are actually deep. Him and Brandon need to make a trade ASAP because Brandon doesn't have receivers, and Freddie actually has really good, kind of in depth there, where Freddie has a lot at receiver. So there you go. Work something out, guys. I'm gonna give Freddie's team a C plus. I'll go with C plus. C plus C. It wasn't bad. There was and we talking about McKinnon. Like I said, on draft day, if I did this like on time and I did this right after we did the draft, it probably would have been higher. So that's why I'm struggling to give it even a C because that wasn't a bad pick. He had a balanced team. I hate Lynch, so Lynch is trash. But you still after that you kind of filled out the running back with the backups that you had that would have been effective guys that you could replace for Lynch. Unfortunately, you got McKinnon, so you got to replace for both of them. I got here. That's true. So, you know what? That's right. Brandon did bring up a good point, and you should have picked somebody up, bro. I think you not even trying to get Breida or Alfred Morris or just trying to pick somebody up on the waiver wire does disqualify you points. So you get a C. It's not a C plus. It's a C. Because you had to try, bro. I think that was kind of you didn't even put a bid in. So, all right, I'm gonna move on. So pick 6 is let's see who had the 6th pick. Oh, Darvinson had it. So Los Abogados. It was pick 6. Change my team. That's for all right, guys. So let's see. So pick 6 was Valdez. He picked first round Antonio Brown. Steal of the first round. Like he had over 330 points last year. He was only behind Gurley and Bell. You guys are wilding out. Like I know that the running backs had a lot of buzz this year, but Antonio Brown, there's no reason he fell to 6. No, none at all. So Barkley before him, even Zeke. I could have made a case that he goes 3. I don't know why even David Johnson before. Like I get that running back was supposedly like lighter this year, but Antonio Brown, whatever. So it was a steal. Value and steal, if not the draft, at least the first round. You took McCoy, second round, 19th pick. I don't like him this year. My ageism is coming out. I don't even know if that's a word, but me being an ageist is kind of showing itself. He's 29 going on 30. The suspension is still something that might happen. I'm not here to judge his character, but whatever. If it's true, if it's not true, He may still be suspended. That looked terrible. The photos that were leaked online of his baby mother. The it's a tough situation. Other than that, he had, what was it, 300, a combined 346 touches last year. That's too much work for a guy that old, bro. Like, and then that doesn't include what he did in the playoff game. So over 300, you can kind of guess that he had at least 20 touches in that playoff game. 360, 370, 365 touches last year on somebody's body that has been beat up. It's not. He probably had more. I think he had more touches last year than he did the last 4 or 5 years. But it's not like he's had a light workload. So McCoy as the first running back, I think I get that he was there. I just don't like him at all this year. I didn't like him last year. I kind of had to bite my tongue on that. I had to suck it up because I was wrong on that. Damn, none of the avocados are good. That's trash, bro. I'm sorry, guys. We had a avocado. Damn, I could have bought some. Anyway, guys, so I'm sorry about that. But I don't like McCoy. I don't think he holds up this year. Then you took Larry Fitzgerald, another older guy. Last year, I'm pretty sure you got him at Darlington. You got him last year, but you got him in like the 7th round. So he was like your flex. I think this is I saw him going earlier this year for some reason. He's been consistent. I don't think he hits 1,000 yards from this year. That's a bad offensive line. Bradford is not gonna hold up. He played 2 games or 3 games last year. That knee is basura. And I think Fitzgerald, what he's done has been amazing. I'm not trying to downplay him. I just think that offense is not going to be good. Even with the kid Rosen, if Rosen takes over, he's not going to go in there and light it up. Like, I think Rosen is a good quarterback that needs to learn how to play. So you got Bradford and Rosen. I mean, I could be wrong because I've been saying that David Johnson is somebody I'm scared of as well. But Fitz in the 3rd round, for me, is a little bit too early for me. It just is. Then you took Josh Gordon. So this, he scares me as well, but it's like I like consistency. And I think he has crazy upside. But the thing is, he's one bad drug test, one alcohol test. Like, so his last suspension wasn't for weed. It was because he had liquor in his system after he took a flight. So the last time he got suspended for like the full year or indefinitely was because he failed a drug test that also tested him for alcohol. So I don't know why it's. I mean, I guess because once you fail multiple, they even testing you for alcohol. But not downplaying the mental health issue or the mental health aspects of it. But he's definitely somebody that just worries me. But if you hit on him, bro, he's a top 2-round talent. He could be a 1st-round talent. Excuse me. He has the talent. He's in great shape. Not that he hasn't kept his body in shape. It's just his mind is something that, apparently why he stood away for almost all the training camp was because of, he was suffering through anxiety and depression. And how he used to cope with that was the weed and the alcohol. And that's how he used to cope. And that's why I think he went into like a rehab, or not a rehab center, but like he checked himself into like a mental health hospital to get himself right. I don't know that I want to take him in the 4th round. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for you making this pick, but for me, it was kind of scary. You took Corral. I put not bad player. I just think the offense is going to be like the Jets offense doesn't take a step up this year. It's going to be just as bad as it was last year. I think the one boost that he gets is that offense is going to lean on him a lot. I think with Darnold, if they're going to start the rookie, he might get 250, 300 carries just to protect the rookie. So if he has 3 down back upside, but he's never been used that way. He's not a bad receiving running back. I think the issue with him is more that he's always had somebody that's better at receiving. So Duke Johnson is just like a specialist. You got Bilal Powell, who seemed like another guy that's a specialist receiver. So, Corral is good. If they give him the work, he might get there on volume alone. The team is trash. I think the offense is bad. Then that's another like 3 or 4 win team. So that's something else that if they're playing from behind, he might not have a lot of opportunity. But I think not a bad pick. And it's kind of like a weird, like he's in a bad position, but he's gonna get the volume. So you got it. That's a good and a bad thing at the same time. Then you took Corey Davis. I wrote good upside, great upside. He's the number 1 receiver on that team, and that was your 4th pick. I mean, your 4th receiver. So I can't hate that. Like he's your flex at that point, and the upside is there. If him and Mariota can get it together, he was a 1st-round pick last year, like in the actual draft. And receivers don't go that early. If they go that early, they have a good pedigree, and they're expected to, to kind of adapt to the league quick. That's why you take somebody there. They don't, they know how to run routes. They know how to read offenses. They know how to read defenses. Like they're not dudes that are not going to thrive. If they're not expected to thrive, then those are the guys that have talent, but that go round 3, round 4, where they could challenge the start. But he was a 1st-round pick, so in like top 8 pick, I think actually. So I think Corey Davis there is a good pick. Delanie Walker, I hate him, and you got like a weird team with old guys and young guys, but Delanie Walker is 34. Delaney Walker, I'm sorry, I don't like him. I got nothing else to say other than he's old and I don't like him. So I'm not gonna waste time. Delaney Walker is a bum. Duke Johnson, not bad. He had 74 catches, 693 yards. So now you kind of making up for the McCoy, like just kind of building a good backup for McCoy. Got no beef with it. Duke Johnson, 74 catches, 693 yards. They put him in the slot last year. He was lining up. He was lining up on the ends, so like a number 1 and number 2 receiver. There was a couple games like that. He was catching it out the backfield, bro. And so his whole career, he's been in the league 3 years. He had 61 catches his first year, 53 his second year, and then 74 last year. For a running back, that's borderline elite catching stats for a running back. If we were a full point PPR, he's a little bit more of a consequential player, but even at half point, that brings value to your team. Then you took Crowder. I just wrote great value. You got him at pick 102. Got no beef. That team needs a number 1 receiver. Him and Dotson can kind of fight it out. I think Jordan Reed's going to be good, but Alex Smith, I think they have the potential as a team to kind of step up on offense where they weren't last year. And I think Cousins kind of specialized before last year in a lot of garbage time play. I think if they semi-competitive, I think Crowder has the potential to be a borderline 900-yard receiver, a borderline 1,000-yard receiver. He was also hurt last year, so it was him, Terrell Pryor, and Dotson that came into the year, and they all suffered injuries at different points during the year. So it wasn't even like he didn't get a lot of time to kind of acclimate himself to that offense last year. I think he's coming into camp healthy. That's all reports seem like he's good to go. He's gonna be all right. You took Stafford. I can't even say anything else other than he hasn't missed a game since 2010. Stafford is a amazing pick of value. Once again, all you want from a quarterback, you want him to throw over 4,000 yards. You want him to be healthy. You don't want him to miss games, and then you want him. He's last year was the first year I think in a couple that he didn't get 30 touchdowns. So even that, he has a high floor type of guy, and you good with Stafford. Calvin Ridley, I spoke about him earlier. I don't want to beat up that horse, but he was Alabama's go-to guy. He was clutch. He knows how to run routes. He's a big play guy. Caught the game-winning score of a national championship game. He's solid. So I think he helps Julio. I think he gets pressure off of Julio. I think Julio gets a lot more one-on-one where he was getting double and triple team. But I think him and Matt Ryan could have a good connection, almost like when what's his name? White. when it was Julio and the older guy that I think his name was White, but when it was Julio and the guy he kind of surpassed, we might have that kind of scenario starting mid-season this year, where you see Ridley getting more attention from Matt Ryan than Julio is. And it's going to be, like, I think they can be a crazy duel in the league. You took Wilkins, good upside guy. If anything happens to Mac, Wilkins from Indianapolis. I'm not sure if I made that clear, but if anything happens to Mac, you're okay. You took the Ravens. I got no problem with that. Matt Bryan, and then you took Keenan Cole, last pick of the draft, with, of course, hindsight's 2020, but even before that, with the injury to Lee, you won. Before the injury to Lee, he was still going to be a number 2, maybe a number 3, but with a lot of upside. So you good there. So overall, I can see you in the playoffs, but like kind of fighting it out. I gave your team a C, C plus, B minus, around there. Like, actually, yeah, so C plus, B minus. And I think when we come to the review, like there's, like I said, I'm an ageist, but I also can recognize that you do have value, like almost across the board. Larry Fitz, I don't like that he's old, but if he even if he's 80% of what he was last year, 90% of what he was last year, good pick. McCoy, same thing. As long as they don't fall apart, my hatred for them is not going to stop you from being a competitive team. Gordon, if he plays, like your upside is also through the roof. Like if you have somebody like Gordon who actually plays, you got championship potential. So it's just kind of like weighing the pros and the cons. And then you got Antonio Brown with pick 6. I think once again Brandon doesn't agree, but I think it's amazing value. So let's just see. I'm already. All right. So who's next? Oh, okay. So pick 5. My man, Mr. Quinones. Isaac Supernova. So take a sip. I'm actually doing all right with this. I'm happy with the timing. So let's kind of get through it. He took Zeke first pick. No complaint. He's a workhorse. I think that line with the center having that nerve disease, and there's another injury on the line that's not like a serious one, not like a season-ending one, but still that line is not the superstar cast that it was last year or even 2 years ago, where, you know, that kind of helped him thrive. I think my worry with Zeke, and I see why he fell, is that they have nothing else really. You know, Dak, as we've spoken about, we kind of have a lot of debate about him. I think he's not, without Zeke, he's nothing. But I think, you know, there's going to be so many 8 in the box that Zeke has to face that's the kind of the only concern. But at pick 5, you have to take him. Like, there's no, I'm not mad at you for taking him there. Like I said, maybe only Antonio Brown would have been, actually Antonio Brown definitely. But other than that, if you were stuck on getting a running back, then you're fine. Then you took Freeman, who I wrote is a stud. He had a down year last year, and even last year, what review is this? Right now? Here's it. I appreciate Brandon's clever review of my reviews. But yes, Darwin says team is old and can go to school with Brandon. But back to Isaac. So Isaac had Zeke in the first round, Devontae Freeman in the second round. I wrote all right, so his first year in the league had a down year. I kind of like hinted at this, but then his second and third year in the league, next 2, so had 1,600 yards running and catching, and then a total of over 14 touchdowns receiving and catching combined those 2 years. That's top 4, 5 pick in the draft value. Like that many touchdowns, that many yardage from scrimmage. You know, like I like those first two. Then kind of going back after that, let's see. You took T.Y. Hilton. So the theme of your draft and kind of the underlying the theme is that if Andrew Luck is good, if he plays the whole year, your team can be let me just drop it off at the beginning, can be a championship contender. But that's a really kind of a high question mark. So you took T.Y. Hilton, third pick, 29th pick, third round. So he had, with Andrew Luck, he had 4 straight years of 1,000 yards receiving. He had his last year with Andrew Luck, 1,400 yards. He's only 26, so do that all before you're 26. T.Y. Hilton has crazy upside, and you got him in the third round. So, like I said, if Andrew Luck is healthy, a lot of you kind of foreshadowing for later, but you have a good chance of being like top dog. You got Hogan from the Patriots. That's your 4th pick. I wrote he's never really sniffed a successful season. He's had very short bursts, like 3 games here, 4 games there, but he hasn't put it together for a whole season. So probably your worst pick of the draft, but he's going there. So like if you want to, somebody had to draft him. I said this earlier with somebody else that I didn't like. Somebody was going to draft him. I think Lynch. But with Hogan, his career high is 38 receptions, 680 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That was 2 years ago. Last year, he happened to have 5 touchdowns, but the stats were lower than that. So, for a guy that's going this high, I don't get the hype. The Patriots kind of, the bandwagon kind of jumps on, but there's no reason that he's going out early. I know Edelman is out for 4 games, but that doesn't automatically mean that Hogan is going to jump up to this elite level receiver. I just don't believe in the hype. Then you took Jay Ajayi, who I don't like him, but he's had 2,000 yard running, running seasons, and he's only been in the league 4 years. He's on a good offense. It's weird because when he was in Miami, we were always waiting for the opportunity, and no team seems to give him the opportunity. He had that one like 4 or 5 game streak where he had 2 games over 200 yards and like 2 others over 100 yards. I think that's the most yards he's had in any span of his whole career. Like that amounts to like I think 60% of his total. It's something crazy. So that 1 year, that one little short burst, we've all been waiting for him to kind of pick it up, and it's never happened. So it's weird. Like there's value taking him in the 5th round because the Eagles' offense is good and it's supposed to be good, quote unquote. So I wanted to talk with Antonio about this. I don't know where they're gonna score. Like everybody's talking about how great they were last year. I get that the coach's offensive mind. Wentz is still out. Foles is finally showing that he's not it was, I don't want to say luck, but it was the right time, right place. Jeffries is out. Ertz is probably one of the solid staples of that offense, but like I don't see anybody else thriving there. So Jay Ajayi, if he's the number 1 running back, which he is, somebody needs to thrive there. So if this offense is going to be as great as it is, he's going to be good. I don't see that happening, so whatever. So Hogan, Jay Ajayi, kind of the iffy ones, but then you took Mike Crabtree, who's going to be a top receiver on that Ravens offense. I think he has potential to be like Steve Smith, who late in his career with Flacco, like was able to thrive, right? And I think Crabtree isn't that old. I think he's only 28 or 29. There's a lot of potential there for him to kind of step up. He's gonna be the number 1 guy. He's always been a touchdown threat. Brandon says don't shit on Hogan. Yeah, he's trash, bro. I don't like Hogan. But Crabtree, I like Crabtree. Then you took Drew Brees, 7th round, 77th pick. So you didn't have to take him that early, but I don't mind you taking a guy that before last year was top 5 for almost like 8 or 9 consecutive years. Over 30 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards passing. Like he was, yes, he's getting older. And like Brady, when I said it earlier, sometimes that it just kind of drops off the hill. But I don't think that's what it was. I think you have Kamara and Ingram, and it's a recipe for success. That defense was elite. it became great. It wasn't elite. This shit might be elite, but then you don't got to throw the ball 1,000 times. Like you want to win. The ultimate point is to win. But I think with Ingram out the first 4 games, Breeze might be a beast, at least a steal in those first 6 or 7 games. Because while Ingram gets back accustomed to the team, Kamara was more of a screen pass, and he was a threat when he ran, but it was because they had Ingram and Kamara. I think Breeze is a solid dude. I have no problem with Breeze. I don't have no problem really that you took him that early. If he's going to be your quarterback, that's fine. Then you took – so at this point, I wrote you had 3 receivers, 3 running backs, and then your QB. Balance. Like you're building up your roster. I don't got to love Hogan to respect that you're building a solid team. You then took Jack Doyle. Check my point from earlier with T.Y. If Andrew Luck is there and healthy, you got a guy that from last year, without Andrew Luck, had 80 catches, 690 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 80 catches for a tight end is a lot, bro. So without Andrew Luck, and the year before, he was okay with Andrew Luck. If Andrew Luck is there, there's no reason why Jack Doyle doesn't take maybe more touchdowns up, maybe more yardage up. I think he definitely takes a step up if Andrew Luck is there. He's shown that he could do it without him. So Jack Doyle with your 92nd pick as your tight end, no beef at all. Then you took James White. I put consistent. He's probably the most consistent Patriots running back because he gets his catches each game. He doesn't have to get a lot of burn to actually make an impact on those games. And he can, as your flex, as a bye week fill-in, no problem with James White at all. Like he averages 9 points per game, and he doesn't play that much. So you building up value. Then you took Meredith, who used to be on Chicago. I wrote there's a good flyer because he's now in New Orleans. I think for me he had a lot of injury history, injury problems with Chicago, but it's a flyer. He's only 25. You taking him pick 106. There were probably other receivers that I like better, but I don't got a beef with he's not old. He's not, his ceiling is still kind of high, especially in New Orleans, who they don't have Snead anymore. Who's going to take over that spot? Who's going to take over that role, that number 3 / could be potential number 2 receiver in that offense? Then you took Marlon Mack, point from before. If Andrew Luck is good, Marlon Mack is going to be good. That's pretty. It's not to oversimplify it, but it's to simplify it. If Andrew Luck is even 75-80% of what he used to be, that team is going to score a lot more than it did last year, and it's going to be a good team. So you can kind of go with with Marlon Mack being something. So okay, and Angel asked, what about Ebron's effect on Jack Doyle? He hasn't done anything in the preseason. So unless they're hiding him, and then just to jump off of that, Isaac took Ebron in his draft. So normally where I hate people taking 2 tight ends, I think Isaac, to try to mitigate that, what is Ebron's role going to be on that offense, he took him. And I don't think anybody else would have drafted him. Maybe he's a super late, end of the draft type of dude, Ebron. But Ebron definitely struggled with drops last year. And he's always been this guy that's all about potential, that's never lived up to the potential. So I think it's weird that they brought him in and then did not feature him at all during the preseason. It was so weird. So I think Jack Doyle will still retain at least the PPR value, the amount of receptions. He may not get the attention in the red zone. That may be where Ebron kind of has the most effect on Doyle, but he's never been a big touchdown guy anyway. So I said it. I said that Doyle only had 4 touchdowns last year, and his high is 5. I think if he retains the 75 to 80 catch kind of floor, and then doesn't increase the touchdowns, at pick 101, or what was it? Yeah, pick 92. It's still not a bad pick. You didn't reach for him. Jack Doyle is still going to give you value. And if Ebron becomes that touchdown vulture, Isaac actually covered his behind by taking him and kind of saying, okay, let's see how this plays out the first couple of weeks. Let's see if I have to, move it around or potentially drop Doyle. Who knows? But he kind of covered his behind to see how that plays out. So to try to finish it up, then he took Jimmy Garoppolo, which I got no problem with. So he took Drew Brees and then took Garoppolo. I'm usually against two tight ends, two quarterbacks, and it's kind of probably his only flaw in this drive. But Jimmy Garoppolo's upside is tremendous. So if he knew that he was going to draft him, or if he always had an eye for him, just kind of seeing how it plays out those first couple of weeks doesn't hurt. Now, if with McKinnon out, if that team kind of struggles out the gate, you can drop Garoppolo and not feel any value because you got Drew Brees. If let's just say Drew Brees is the same guy from last year, you then got Garoppolo on your bench, who if he blows up, you kind of cover your behind on that because you did have a little bit of a question mark with both of those guys. Then he took Ebron. Then he took the Saints. And I was like, they turned that defense from a number 31 defense the year before, 32, and perennial last defense in the league to a top 5 defense. Just with Lattimore, I think Lattimore's the cornerback, but they revamped that defense in that draft and who they brought in. Their draft this year was, if it wasn't better, it was as good as it was last year. They got this kid named Davenport. They got a couple other studs. And they did not lose anybody from the team last year. So I think the Saints can take a step the same way the Jaguars took a step last year. I think the Saints can be like from top 5 to number 1 this year. So, and he got them, was that his last pick? Yeah, with his last pick in the draft, which is crazy that nobody else took the Saints. Give me 1 second. Actually, that wasn't his last pick. I messed up. So bear with me just 1 moment. Let me see who else he took towards the end. That's only 14. Oh no, that was his. Damn, I messed up the way I kept count. But then he took Robbie Gould, who doesn't matter. Okay, so if you can tell, with the way I kind of slurped Isaac, I think he has a good team. So I think I'm giving him A- for this drive. Well, no, B+, A-. All right, so we get into the guys that have been kind of paying attention for most of the top of the drive. So Antonio had the 4th pick. His team name was Quads of Steel, and I'm gonna try to. It was your flaw, Angel. I don't know why you didn't pin it for Breida. I like Breida. I told you that. But okay, so let's see. All right, he took with number 4. He took Saquon. Before Brown, I think is a mistake. Before Zeke, I'm not mad at it because I can see how the concern over Zeke not what's the word? Because of that offense not being that good, I can see Zeke taking a step back. So I don't mind him taking him over Zeke. I mind him over Antonio Brown. I don't know. But I get Saquon's upside. I don't even really need to jump into this. He comes into an offense with OBJ. It was a big flaw. I agree, Brandon. I think with OBJ, Ingram, Shepard, that team, unless Eli kind of crops the bed, is gonna have a good offense at the very least. They stepped up the offensive line. Bro, I've been moved along from Isaac. I'm talking about Antonio. Pay attention, bro. Oh, the food's ready? Give me like 15 more. I should be done in 15. Okay, so Saquon. The only beef is that he went in front of Antonio Brown, but it was a good pick. I get why he's good. Then Devontae Adams, I like the upside. He's never been over 1,000 yards, but he has over 10 touchdowns the last 2 years. Yeah, I did. Angel, you're a little bit behind, but I did. I won't. Okay, Brandon, I won't skip on your recap. I actually got to take a bathroom break, so I may just take like a 2-second break in between Antonio and who's next, and Eric, and then we'll get to the final. The guys that have been here for the longest. I'll make sure to take care of you, Brandon. I got you. But yeah, I got you. So Devontae Adams never had over 1,000 yards, but he's had over 10 touchdowns each of the last 2 years, and last year was missing a lot of time from Aaron Rodgers. I don't have any problem with taking him that early. The question mark is, can he finally step it up? You know, he hasn't done it yet, but he's been like elite with the touchdown rate. Does that come down? Does he maintain it? But I got no problem with him being the second receiver. First receiver in the second round that you pick. Baldwin, so your third round, 28th pick. The only reason he fell was because he had that injury in the preseason, and I think the value that you get here is actually really good, Antonio. He hasn't missed a game since 2012. He's the top receiver in Seattle. There's absolutely no problem with Doug Baldwin there. I really don't even have to say anything much else about him. He's a solid pick. He has a consistent floor, and if this year is the first year he misses time, you know, he's been an Iron Man basically in the league. I hope he doesn't miss time, and I think all things are leaning. All the reports are saying that he's gonna be ready for week 1. So you got him, amazing. You know, late third round pick, you're fine. Well, no, mid third round pick, which is still it's not bad. Lamar Miller, I wrote not sexy. I don't like Lamar Miller, especially in the 4th round. I thought when he I gotta go bathroom. I want to miss this in the middle, but I don't want to rush this. All right, give me 3 minutes, guys, and I can't really stop the thing, so y'all gonna just have my window in the background. Enjoy the view of my plants. I'll be right back. Nah, baby, you fine.
Run, Forrest, run.
Baby, food smells delicious.
Hey.
I don't know what you're making, but it smells delicious. Oh, no, I do know what you're making. Why did I say that?
I guess you meant you don't know how.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry for the break. I don't know who's on, but I was in the middle of Antonio's recap. Actually, I should have let him know that I was doing his recap, but yeah. All right, so I was at Lamar Miller. I don't like him. He's not sexy, and not that he's not sexy. If he was consistent, then you can kind of deal with him. But you know, he went from Miami to Houston, and we all thought he'd be like the guy, right? And not we, but I know Matthew Berry hyped him up, and I was right on that boat. I was like, oh, feed him the rock. What was it? Babe, it was like Unleash Miller. No, he had a thing for Miller. Anyway, feed the beast. It was like, because in Miami, he never got the volume. So it was like, okay, he's going to go to Houston where he's the main guy. And in Houston, they're gonna run it crazy. They're gonna run it down people's throats. It never happened. He has Alfred Blue, who's a bum, not a bum. You know, he's an NFL player, but no, I think he's worse than Isaiah Crowell, bro. So I think it's a good comp. I don't mind the comp of Isaiah Crowell, Angel, but he's definitely because Crowell to me has upside. He's been on a bad team. Like I think if Crowell was on the Browns this year, he has a 1,000-yard potential. He's been on terrible teams, and now he's going to the Jets. So it might be a comp on stats. Yeah, Crowell's a lot more athletic. So the thing is, they might be comp on stats towards the end of the year, but Lamar Miller is in a lot better situation with a lot more threats on that offense. But he's just gonna be like blah. And like even last year, so he had his most work. So they fed him the rock. He had 238 rushes last year for only 888 yards with 3 touchdowns. Bro, that's terrible. Like horrible. So like that's the thing. Like it's not before it was that he doesn't get the work. Last year he got the work and still was not good. So, you know, give or take, that's your 4th pick. And then you took Rex Burkhead. So okay, so it's gonna sound like I'm trashing the Patriots. Their position guys, other than Gronk, don't get enough work to be valuable. I think Sony Michel can break that mold. Like I think he can legit, if they drafted him that early, I think he can be a top, like he can be a 3-down back, or at least, you know, 1st and 2nd round back. And then White comes in on the 3rd round, on the third, you know, the third round, 3rd down. But so I think White has consistency because sometimes they throw him in the slot. Their receiving core is not that good this year. Like Edelman being out 4 games, they released Britt. They released the other kid. Started with a D. I'm blanking on his name. But so all that to say, there's very few Patriots kind of position players aside from Gronk. Oh yeah, they dropped Butler. It wasn't just Butler either. It was like Dorsey. Butler, Dorsey. No, is Dorsey still there? I think Dorsey's still there. Anyway, nobody on that Patriots, like those Rex type Burkhead players, do I trust. And I'm not, he's never done it. So if you look up his stats, he's been in the year 6 years. He's never been good. Like he had a short burst last year, but in Cincinnati or on the Patriots, he's had like 3 games where you're like, oh my God, he's great. And then because the Patriots kind of, the hype machine starts, people are like, oh, he should be a 5th round pick. Bro, Rex Burkhead would not be a top 10, 11, 12 pick if he wasn't on the Patriots. Look at his stats. I should have wrote them down because I don't want to take time kind of looking them up. But somebody look up them stats and tell me he's not garbage. He's never been good. So he's in short bursts. The Patriots put people in positions to succeed. So the Patriots will make him look like a star for 2 games. And then you're like, oh my God, this guy is great. But what's happened to Stephen Ridley? What's happened to any of these guys? Even what's his name that's now in Detroit that was with the Eagles last year that scored 18 touchdowns for the Patriots 2 years ago and now barely could find a job this offseason. Like Patriots make guys stars. Thank you, Blunt. But they don't necessarily translate. And I don't think there's not going to be maybe Sony Michel can be a Blunt-like guy or somebody that gets enough work to be at least fantasy relevant. But you're kind of, not just you, because Hogan is another example, but reaching in the 5th round, when he has a tear in his, there's a slight tear in his knee. So he's going to be ready for week 1. Does not guarantee he's going to be available for the whole season. And he's never been a good player for the whole team, like the whole season. So it's like 5th round is way too early for a guy like that. I know because of the hype machine, that's why people are drafting him that early. You tell me, oh, I took him in the 10th round. I'm like, okay, I get the upside there is enough that it kind of, the Patriots kind of devaluing of anybody being a star or anybody taking too much control, kind of, it lets you go. But I'm kind of ranting on him. He missed, thank you, Angel. He's a bum. He missed 6 games last year. Yeah, I don't like Burkhead, and I'll get off that kind of. I'll get off that my whatever I'm preaching right now. So then you took Robbie Anderson, but so I don't like him either, but more because of the situation. So he could get suspended. He was good last year, but McCown is not going to be the quarterback. So you got a rookie quarterback that wasn't really that good. Well, I mean, in the preseason wasn't that good. And then you got somebody that has potential. He's only 25, but there's other guys that you can take at the 69th pick of the draft that are kind of a little bit more solid. There's not these question marks. So you taking guys, Rex Burkhead, Robbie Anderson, like then I'm like, like I would personally stay away from. I get why you take them. I get the hype is there, but I just don't. There's certain guys that I don't, and you kind of like the dudes that I'm like really turned off by. So okay, he's a burner. So last year he had 63 catches, 941 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's good. That's like the beginning of something that can be great. I don't know that with this quarterback. I don't know that in this offense. I think, and I like what he did last year, Angel. So I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I think Robbie Anderson has potential. I think the situation is garbage. So I think that's what kind of scares me from Robbie. I think the quarterback not being good, that offense is not going to be good. The Jets are a 3 to 4, maybe 5 win team this year. That's what kind of scares me about Robbie. Then you took Jordan Reed, who I said we all know the risk. Never played, I think, more than 14 or 13 games. Last year was heartbreaking because everybody thought he was going in the 3rd, 4th round. I know Angel took him uber early last year. But the upside, and then where you took him, I got no problem. This is like kind of one of the first picks, one with Baldwin. You had some value here. But Jordan Reed, 7th round, 76 pick, not bad. Not bad at all. If he plays, you can get top 3, 3rd round talent, top 4, 4th round talent. Like he's good. He just needs to play. Baby Gronk. I have no problem with Reed this kind of round here. Like if it's early in the draft, it hurts you. Here you can kind of make up for the problematic injury history. You can kind of prepare for, and it doesn't affect you that badly. Then you took Shep from the Giants. I wrote, only bad thing about him is that he took like a step back last year without OBJ playing that year. So without OBJ there, you think without OBJ there, you think he takes a step up.
I was like, no, we're going to the States. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Antonio's team is a little bit suspect, but Brandon is the king of the review of my review. So Shep isn't bad, but last year he should have. Ideally, he takes a step up without OBJ there. You leave a void for him. He didn't step up. He had a little bit more yardage, but he went from 8 touchdowns the prior year to 2 last year. Only 2 touchdowns the entire year. I never said he was a 1, but even as a 2nd or 3rd receiver, he didn't really step up to even that level. So with Evan Ingram there, Shep couldn't take the top cornerback D'ing him. So I guess the hope is that with OBJ back, with Barkley there, that he can progress, but he's not going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. He's not. Eli, this offense can't handle that many mouths to feed. So if he stays the same, he's about a 60 to 80 yard. No, I'm sorry. Let's say 65 to 75 catch guy, about 700 yards. Maybe he takes an upswing in touchdowns because OBJ takes the pressure off of him. So maybe he goes back. He's not going to get 8, but maybe instead of 2 from last year, he's about a 5 touchdown guy, or maybe a 4 touchdown guy. But even that, he's not going to be somebody that should. I don't think the upside is there with around this pick, around 93. Around pick 93, you could have gotten somebody that the upside. So the receiver from Ridley, you could have gotten Ross. There's so many guys that went later than this that have Galladay. Thank you. there's so many picks that these receivers, Crowder, bro, there's so many. Stop naming them because you're taking them out of my head. But there's so many receivers that had upside where he's a solid, like, he's not going to have a bigger upside than 70 catches, 750 yards, which is okay, but you could have gotten more at this pick. Then you took Devontae Parker, who I don't mind. That's one of the guys that you should have taken in Shep's place. So you got him at pick 100. So that offense is going to be, I don't know if Stills, I know Brandon loves Stills. That he's never been great. Parker's never been great. That team is weird without Landry on it. But they got to – but without Landry there, I mean, you assume that Parker finally gets it together. But last year he didn't do it. So, it's a give and a take. Without Landry there is a void that that needs to be filled. Don't mind it. Now, here's the thing. So you had taken 5 receivers up to this point, and your second running back was Bilal Powell. Bro, what are you doing? Like, I didn't notice that until I was doing the review. But Bilal Powell is your second running back. Like, I don't even have the words for it, bro. Like, I think it speaks for itself. But, like, you punted running back hard, bro. Like, yes, you got Barkley, and then God forbid anything happens to him. Like, for a bit, you have nothing behind him, bro. Bilal Powell is your second running back, and then you didn't take anybody else after him. Come on, like, what are you doing? Like, so, and I'll just say this. To kind of even key that up. Bilal Powell really didn't have anybody in front of him last year. So we all expected him to take the step up last year. He didn't do that. What with Crowell there, you really think that he's going to be a better option? That coach obviously didn't think he can handle the workload because Bilal Powell at the end 2 years ago had like a great 2 or 3 games to end the season. But, okay, I'm sorry. You do have Lamar Miller. Yeah, thank you. But thank you, Angel. I appreciate them. But Brandon's like, I thought this was a draft recap, not a roast. But still, you had a bad draft, bro. Like, I hate Miller. That's why I forgot about Miller. But Bilal Powell, drop him, bro. Whatever. I'm sorry. But then you took Mike Williams from the Chargers. I got no problem with Mike Williams, bro. So Mike Williams, at this point, you have 6 wide receivers, 3 running backs. Your Giants, you drafted the Texans, then picked up the Giants. Their defense, we can agree, their defense is not. You can probably stream them, but they're not deep. Any injury to their defense this year, and just like last year, they're gonna be behind the ball. Like they have. I'm using your words, Antonio. They have a lot of shiny tools at the beginning. They got elite Bernier. They got elite at the secondary has 1 or 2 guys, but once those guys get hurt, God forbid they have any injuries, we're done. So we have at every position we got like a good solid player. But you drop the Texans who had Matu this year, who have JJ Watt coming back, who have Clowney coming back, who have what's the I'm forgetting their linebacker Kushner or Kusher, who like these guys that yes, they're playing the Patriots the first week, bro. You take that L. So if they only get 2 or 3 points, if you're gonna draft an elite defense like that, you don't drop them. I don't know, bro. I don't see that. I think the Texans have the defense to keep up with anybody, bro. I think their defense is elite. But that's fine. Then you took Mitch Trubisky, who, bro, I think you just wanted to prove a point. If there's a million streaming options on the wire, so you can have Trubisky as a starter, and then if he doesn't work out week 2, there's other guys there that you can pick up. I think Phillip Rivers is still available. You got Eli, who, if that offense is decent, you can stream him here and there. You're gonna stream at defense. You're gonna stream at quarterback, and you might stream at tight end if Reed gets hurt. So that's the thing too. It's like, yeah, Alex Smith. There's enough that you can get away with Trubisky just to prove a point and like kind of show us that you know better than us. But if he's not good, like you're gonna be okay. Yeah, there's Dak Prescott too, but Dak is trash. But let's kind of just move on. So you took Lutz as a kicker. It doesn't really matter. He's not elite, but you're gonna be all right. I just said at the end of the day, I thought you had a weird team, bro. Like I just thought, and I guess because I don't like Lamar Miller, and there's other players that you drafted. There's like a dislike for a lot of the players. It's not like. So you started well, Saquon, Devontae Adams, Baldwin, but then I thought it was like bad from there on out. Lamar, and I forget you had Rex Burkhead. So I'm talking you don't have running backs, but you know what it is? I don't like any of the running backs you have. That's more what it is. Like aside from Saquon, it's like super downhill from there. So I gave your team. You're not gonna like it, but I gave your team a C minus D. And then that was that. All right, so let's move on. I'm trying to wrap this up. My food is ready. Let's go. But I'm not going to cheat because a lot of you guys that are still on have been here from the beginning. Nah. Okay, so Eric had the third pick. He took David Johnson as his first round pick. I've already discussed how I don't like the Cardinal. I don't like that team at all. But the volume, if he can stay healthy, the volume alone will carry him. Yeah, it wasn't an F, but it wasn't good, Angel. So Angel says F minus for Antonio. That's rude, bro.
F minus for you.
All right, so yeah, for David Johnson, he's definitely the upside. I can't hate on him because he's the whole team pretty much. As long as he stays healthy, he'll be okay. But that offensive line is bad. The quarterback play, if Bradford can stay healthy, then yeah, maybe. Brandon, you should just type it on here though, because I think that's why people are just paying attention to the chat in here and not the group me and the chat. Like I have both of them open, so I kind of go back and forth. But it's up to you, Brandon. Then you took Mike Evans. He's one of the last guys of that top tier, but for whatever reason, he's kind of fallen out of liking to a lot of the experts. I think he hasn't been efficient. So a lot of what his production has been with volume. A lot of what Mike Evans was that he was getting 150, 160, 140 targets. He was getting all the red zone targets. So he was getting, so much work. He's Winston's top guy. But exactly, they picked up Godwin in the draft. Last year. And towards the end, Godwin was taking a step up. Do I have Godwin in this league? I have him somewhere. And I agree, Angel, that he's definitely he's more polished. He has better hands. Evans has a drop problem. And then if he's not getting 140 targets a year, he's not going to catch. He wasn't efficient. And that's the thing. I think part of it is that he's a big body. So Winston would just throw it up a lot of times and just tell him to go get it. But you gotta, I don't dislike him. I'm just saying he definitely does come with, nah, bro, I don't even think he's Amari Cooper. Because Amari Cooper never got that volume. If you think about, I'm sorry, Angel, and for people that are not reading the chat, Angel said that Evans is Amari Cooper. I don't see that because Cooper had the share with Crabtree. Evans never had that problem before. He never had to really share the target share with anybody. So the target share is what is gonna go down. So he was justifiably falling in the draft to third round because those guys that went after him, T.Y. Hilton, Hill, the Diggs, and Thielen. Like, you have guys that were like kind of stepping up while Evans was kind of coming down. So it's even Amari Cooper. Like, if we're gonna be honest, he doesn't have Crabtree there anymore. The Jordy is. I don't see him as a threat the way other people do, but still, the comp on Cooper and Evans this year is that it's this year. It's not in their past. So you're not wrong in that comp, Andrew. But I think Evans was going down while all these other guys were kind of like projecting upwards, especially Ty. So I don't hate him, but there was definitely kind of other guys that if you would have went with, I wouldn't have hated either. Then in the third round, and you took Thielen with the next pick, who I don't. That's great pick, actually. So him and Diggs going earlier, people were scared about them, but I think they can both withstand their value and both eat. I haven't used that phrase this year. Thank you, bro. They can both eat in that offense. Okay, so yeah, I don't disagree with that, Angel. Angel says that both Cooper and Evans are talented, but are not efficient. That's actually a really good point. Point about Evans though is that his stock is kind of falling, and hopefully if he has a bounce back year, then no problem. But that's kind of where you got to monitor it. Like, is he gonna be a second round value at the end of the year? I don't think. That's where it's a question mark. He took Thielen, who had 90 catches, 1,200 yards last year. And then even the year before that, people don't recognize that he had 69 catches, 967 yards the year before that. So Thielen has been on an upward trajectory, and I think he has a high floor. So for me, I like Diggs, but it's more like that's so Angel just asked if I like Diggs or Thielen. For me, I like Diggs' big play potential. So I think Thielen is a safe pick. So that's why I don't mind him in the third round. I don't even mind Thielen going above Diggs right now. I just think Diggs is gonna finish the year better than Thielen. So you can I like Diggs better because I think the upside, the touchdown potential to me is 10 to 12 touchdowns in the season. I think Thielen is what he is. So he's gonna be close to 100 catches, which is amazing, and over 1,000 yards, which is that floor is something that in the third round is good to kind of go after. And then, so good point too. If it's full PPR or half point, I think even then you may go with Thielen. But for me, I think the one thing that has helped Diggs back is that he's suffered like soft tissue injuries here and there. So like last year, he missed 2 or 3 games. The year before that, he missed like 3 or 4. So he hasn't been able to kind of stay on the field. But his upside to me, and now Cousins coming in, Cook, Dalvin Cook being there, I think that offense collectively continues to take a step up. And I think because if Case Keenum can lead that offense, what do you think Cousins is going to do there? Like, I think Cousins is going to lead that offense greatly. And let me not, because I'm going on a rant about the Vikings now, but I think Thielen in the third round is great. So at this point, you have Evans, Thielen, and then you go with Golden Tate. So a lot of people don't like Golden Tate. He's super reliable, bro. Like, I have no problem with him. He has a high floor. It's low upside, but a high floor. So you took Thielen and Tate, to me, are 90 catch guys. Angel, you can say yuck, but it's a volume thing. I think I understand the yuck, but he's not his top receiver. He's not even his second receiver. He's his third receiver. As your third receiver to have Golden Tate, a 90 catch, close to 1,000-yard guy the last 3 or 4 years, bro, you're asking for too much if you want more at that pick. Then you took Aaron Rodgers with in the 5th round with the 51st pick. I got no problem. I think Aaron Rodgers at that pick, I don't even want to argue it at any point. Yes, I don't like taking a quarterback early, but in this draft I did. If there's value where they're going, you didn't reach. Like, it wasn't a 3rd or 4th round pick; it was a 5th round pick. You had filled the other positions decent with David Johnson and then 3 receivers, no problem. You then went with Olsen, who I said the recency bias kind of has me a little bit not liking him. So before last year, he hadn't missed a game in like 7 years. And last year was a tough injury plague season for Olsen. But he's also, I think, 33 or 34. He came off that it was a serious injury, and you saw how last year towards the end he wasn't himself. I don't think we can expect the high floor because he had, I think, 3 or 4 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving years. Because those running backs are not. I agree. So the running backs there are not attractive. I don't mind him taking Rodgers. So that's why I didn't say anything bad about Rodgers. And I get like taking Rodgers in the 5th round is not bad at all. But then kind of going to the Olsen pick, it's not horrible. You picked him at pick 70. I just don't think I see the him returning to what he was before. So he might be closer to a bust than what the potential is. You took Pierre Garçon. I love Goodwin. Maybe it's my bias against older folks, but I don't see him being great. I think he can be, 70 catches, 600 yards, maybe 700 yards. Where you got him, I think he could have went further back, and I wouldn't have minded it. You then took Kelvin Benjamin, who I don't mind. I think Kelvin Benjamin is a better pick than the Garçon pick tonight. So Kelvin Benjamin at pick 94, he had 1,000-yard receiving his rookie year. It is a long time ago, but he's the number 1 option in the Bills. So if he's even decent, he kind of helps McCoy out a little bit. And then, yes, they also have a rookie quarterback, so that's kind of the concern. But that late, there's no – and pick 94 to have a first-round pick, a starting first receiver is like you can do worse. He can be the touchdown threat. He can be the guy that gets the yardage. So let's move on. Then you took Chris Carson as your second running back. Like, give me till 9. You can eat if you want to eat. Go eat, man.
No, it's still
Okay. Sorry, guys. And then I got second pick and then first round, and I got it because they've been on the call the entire time, so I can't be quick about that. So yeah, I'm trying to round it up, guys. But okay, Chris Carson, I don't think he holds that job. Yeah, I don't think he holds that job at all. I think Rashad Penny, they obviously drafted him that early, so the talk in camp is that he's the starter right now. He doesn't hold that job past 3 or 4 weeks. I think Rashad Penny is going to overtake him. So Chris Carson as the second running back on the team, I don't like it. Gio Bernard, not bad. He's a backup and a handcuff at best. I think Mixon runs away with that, but it doesn't hurt. Like, he's not a bad pick there. Oh, then you took Leon Decker. We all know how that worked out. In hindsight, like on the day, had I done this review, only Decker would have been the laughing kind of mark of it. You bounced back from that with the pickups. You took Cordero Patterson and Ryan Grant from Indy. I like who you replaced them with. Upside guys that I got no beef with them. You took the Chargers. I really like the Chargers defense. As long as they can stay healthy. Joey Bosa, that secondary. They have a good core of dudes. Yeah, word, Leon Decker. Like I said, in hindsight, he kind of messed up, but, Big Decker, babe. Thank you. I was trying to make this PG-13, and I can't share this with the world.
Decker.
Thank you, babe. I appreciate it. So where was I? Oh, the Chargers defense, I don't mind it. You took Travis Benjamin. That's kind of a OD late round pick flyer. I like Mike Williams better on that team, but he can be decent on the Chargers. If I'm gonna give it so this might actually be. Where's my pen, man? You took my pen?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm giving Eric an F.
Oh.
And that's my first F. And it might be my only F, but that's it. I think I talked about it enough. I don't like the depth. I don't like his running backs. I don't like his tight end. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Thielen. I like the top 5 picks were great. And then from there on out, it was kind of a wash. If you disagree, you can disagree. I mean, it may have been a D, but I figured I have to give somebody an F because I haven't given it yet. So, okay, Angel said F is too harsh. So, I'll say a D.
Fuck that. Give him a D minus.
All right, so I'm gonna say a D minus because Angel thinks it's too harsh, but I didn't like it at all. Hey, trying to have a PG, nah.
Get PG. You're a bunch of men. You had a trash draft. You had trash draft.
All right, so then Angel had the second pick. Let's just see. Okay, so you took Bell. I kind of mentioned this before. Brandon said Team Whack and Decker.
There you go.
That's a good one. You see, I like Brandon's reviews of my reviews.
Wait, can they hear me?
Yeah, they hear you. What you think? How you think they hear me and not you, babe? All right, I'm sorry, guys. I got my what is it? My co-host. You're my co-host on the side.
My post shit talker.
No, Angel, you didn't get an A minus. I'm sorry. So you can stop the shit right now. All right, so you got Bell. With the second pick, you got to take him. My concern is the contract, and then, the injury bug where he's just missed a game or two here and there, but him not showing up to training camp again. I know the money is kind of an issue, but it's kind of the only thing that kind of scares me a little bit. Gronk, bro, don't rush me.
Shut up.
You talking about Bell? Move on. Shut up.
He's about to get a read.
Nah, he's not. Anyway, you took Gronk. Same thing with Bell. It's actually kind of the same review. So Gronk can be elite. I think he always had. Last year he played out most of the season, but his injury concerns are the only thing that kind of stopped me. I like Kelsey better just because he's been able to play it out. But Gronk's upside is amazing, so I don't mind you taking him there. You can be all right. So you're gonna have like the upper hand on everybody at that position, so it's fine. I think then you took Howard, who he had a good year in that terrible offense last year. So what was it? He had compared to his rookie year, he actually lost yardage, but the overall outcome was still that he had a good year with a really bad team. So I think if that offense for who you talking about? Cooks, Edelman. Yeah, I think, bro, you want to go back to the Patriots conversation I had 25 minutes ago?
Get
Look,
over it.
no, so I think Gronk I never said Gronk had a problem, bro. So you getting defensive. Gronk is a solid player. I said only thing that concerns me is his injuries. If Gronk plays, he's elite. He's above all the other tight ends, and there's no problem with Gronk. I think the only question mark is that, yes, he has missed a lot of time spread out. So that I didn't write down. If you want me to come back with you, just Google Gronk's playing time. I think he's only played 16 games once in his career.
Yep.
That's not a jab at him. He takes a lot of big hits. He's a big player. He's an athletic dude that gets hurt. So the Angels getting defensive because I said Gronk doesn't play.
Stop being a bandwagon Patriots fan. I'm a Patriots fan, and I still
anyway, but yeah, so I think you're okay with Gronk. I think he eats if he plays, Angel, and that's it. I agree with you. Hogan doesn't play. I think without Cooks, you're 100% correct. But I think that's what White is there. That offense is gonna be in flux, right? So there's always gonna be what's the word I'm saying for? A different guy that steps up each week. The kid, even the besides that, I don't know, bro. I never said anything bad about Gronk, so I'm gonna move on because Angel's annoying me with that. I was trying to talk about Howard, And I was saying how I thought he was a decent pick. Bro, I am consistent. I told you, Gronk, only reason I like Kelsey better than Gronk is because he doesn't miss time. So stop your shit. Then so Howard, let me get past this.
Bitch, make me later.
I do love Sony Michelle. Thank you, Brandon. And Edelman, I haven't even spoken about Edelman. Edelman, when he comes back, is gonna be good. But that's another dude that doesn't play. So if we're gonna have this Patriots argument, I think Patriots have guys that kind of rotate. That offense doesn't. It's the only player that it is based on. Thank you, babe.
Fucking Angel.
For Angel annoying me, and I'm trying to get through this. So, point is, I think Edelman, when he comes back, is gonna be a good player. There's no problem with Edelman kind of taking over that number one role with Gronk. Gronk is the guy as long as he stays healthy. So there's no kind of, I don't know why we even having this conversation. Howard, if that offense even improves a little bit with Trubisky, which is what Antonio is supposedly projecting with this Trubisky talk in our league, if that they can, with Allen Robinson being there, with Trey Burton, this kid is not going to have 8 in the box every game, which is what he was dealing with consistently last year. Howard was like him. Howard and Tariq Cohen were their only real options on that team. So I'm not going to go that far. I see the comp. So Angel said Howard is this year's Gurley. He doesn't catch the ball enough to be Gurley. He's also not as athletic. He's good. So I think he can take a huge step up. But you took him in the 3rd round. So huge step up could be like 2nd round value. So if he goes from, I think he had the first year he was in the league, he had 1,300 yards. And then last year he only had over 1,000. I could be misquoting that because this year I was sloppy about writing things down that I looked up. I don't know why I did that because last year I just had everything written down so that if people check me on it. But I know he did definitely take a step back last year. It was him or Freeman for running backs. They were all gone. Yeah, bro. So I think I'm not mad at you that you took Howard. I'm agreeing that he has great upside. So I just don't think he's gonna be Gurley. Like Gurley was the top player in the league last year. So he's good. And I understand you not trying to be Antonio. You covered your bases with the running backs there. So then you took, trying to move on. You then took Demarcus Thomas, Demarius Thomas. So and then this is another one just like Greg Olsen that I'm like, it's funny how one bad year, and even bad year, not really relative. It's all relative because it was just an off year. How it can shift your perception. The kid that you had picked up that then you dropped, he seems super athletic. Sanders is really athletic. Thomas looked like he took a step back last year. Like Sutton, that's the kid's name. Thank you. Thomas is a big body that for a really long time. So this I did right. He was a model of consistency. Over 90 catches and 1,300 yards for 4 straight seasons. And then 1,000 yards. So he had 4 straight seasons of over 13. And then the year before last, he had 1,000 yards receiving and over 90. So, bro, so for 5 years, 90 catches over 1,000 yards. And for 4 of those, he had 1,300 yards. That's incredible for a receiver. That's like elite. But last year, bro, he struggled, man. And it's like he didn't crack 1,000. He had only 80-something catches, which is fine. That the quarterback situation there was trash. But Sanders is more and Sanders is more athletic though. So the thing about Thomas was that he used to just get to the ball, like they used to do it up and he got to the ball. I think right now the thing about Thomas that scares me is that yes, he's not old as dirt, but I think he's 31 and he looked slower last year. So last year, it wasn't just that the quarterback play was bad. It was that he looked slow off the ball. People were pressing him at the line. Like he wasn't releasing. He's a big dude that wasn't getting free on the line. So that's what terrifies me about Thomas. Like if, yes, a better quarterback, if maybe that energizes him, maybe he looks different than he did last year. But it's kind of what it's just as your first receiver. Not that he's bad, but I like he kind of scares. He just scares me. Moving on. Then you took Juju. I love Juju. I wish I could pick him up. I think so. Without Bryant there, Antonio Brown and Juju, I think Juju has tremendous upside. And it's not just about like I think he has big play upside. So 60, 70-yard catches. He's done it in the preseason. Yeah, they got James Washington. I don't mind James Washington, but I think where Martavius Bryant failed because he would get hurt or got caught up with stupid things like weed, testing positive for not PDs, but like weed a couple times where he missed a lot of time. Yeah, I think, bro, I don't know why you picked up Morris. Like, I mean, I get it, but I don't know why you dropped 66 on Morris. But I'm trying to get through Juju, my love for Juju. So I think Juju is only, 21 this year, showed amazing upside last year. And then the thing about, like, Juju's not making the mistakes that Bryant did when he started to step into that role of, like, big play, top echelon guy. It's I think by far Juju can run away with that number 2 and push Antonio Brown some weeks, like where you're getting 4 catches for 110 yards, and then Antonio is killing it with the volume where he's getting 10 for 110. But like I think for yardage wise, I think Juju has tremendous upside. But then you took Alshon. I hate Alshon Jeffries. Oh my God. Every year I say this, and every year you guys pick him up. I don't know why. I think he should go undrafted, bro. Like, so I think Alshon, he's had, let's just see, 3 out of 7 seasons he's been healthy. So basically 4 out of 7 he's missed. I think over half the season he's missed. Then he's only gotten 1,000 yards twice in 7 years, bro. Why is he still considered a top receiver? In Chicago, he did it once. No, I think he did it both in Chicago, and then since he's come to the Eagles, the only thing he's done on the Eagles is he got 10 touchdowns once in his entire career, and that was with the Eagles. Why is he considered a top echelon guy? I do not understand it. It's one of those things that baffles me. He doesn't play. He's not consistent. He shows signs in 1 or 2 games out the year, and then he's garbage the rest of the year, and he's coming in with the injury. So, okay, let's just see. I got you, Gabriel. So, all right, guys. Thank you for the feedback on GroupMe and then on the YouTube chat. I appreciate you guys. It's easier to kind of read it on the YouTube just because it's like if I have to toggle between the two, I'm wasting time. So just to kind of give that so no A- for you, Angel. But we'll continue. Russell Wilson, though, I think the team stinks this year. Like I think they take a serious step back. But that's good for Russell Wilson. And why I say that is because I think that defense has taken so many hits this season. Losing they lost to everybody pretty much. They lost the kid that went to the Eagles. They lost Richard Sherman. They lost they've lost everybody. I'm drawing a blank because I'm a little bit drunk and tipsy. And like I know their names are blank. And then the kid that's holding out, the Seattle defense is gonna be basura, and they were not good last year. If you remember, they were in blowouts. Houston, 40 points against Houston. So the good thing about Wilson is that in order for that team to even compete, they're gonna have to put up 30 points. They're going to have to average 30, 35 points. So there's a lot of potential for garbage time if they're behind by a lot. And then if they're keeping up in the games, it's because Wilson's putting them on their back and like they're scoring a lot. So I like Wilson. Basically, because of the situation, that team is not gonna, that defense at least, before where their defense kind of carried them, I think Wilson will be elite, at least in fantasy. Great. So and then you took Edelman. So all right, I compared him to Jordy because another, and this is gonna sound weird, and I'm streaming it, so whatever, but another older white guy with a torn ACL. And not that that means anything, but like it's a hard injury to recover from when you're 22, 23. When you're in your 30s, bro, that it's nobody's Adrian Peterson. Like we keep thinking that everybody comes back from torn ACLs when they're 28, 29, 30 and that they're going to be okay. It doesn't happen that way. Like it's a major injury and then he's coming back from the injury and then has the PED. So what I was saying actually is that do we know that he hasn't been using the PEDs this whole time? So it's now that he got caught on the performance enhancing drugs, like, is he going to be slower? Is he not going to be able to cut as fast? Is he not going to be as efficient? Like, I think no, I agree. Brady is elite, and I think Brady can make people around him great. I think Edelman has benefited from that in the past, absolutely.
No.
But my concerns about Edelman are the age, PEDs being what he tested positive for. So they're going to scrutinize his test. He's probably going to get tested every other week. They kind of intensify the testing. So if it was PEDs that were helping him, it's not going to help him anymore. And then a torn ACL. So Gronk stands out. If you want to go back to that, Gronk is going to be the main force there. And then the thing about Edelman is that he's never been able to stay on the field. Like, I agree. So you're going to beat me to it. So so Ronald Jones, I think Crowder, Dotson there, Dotson, any of those Washington receivers, bro, the fact that they didn't go until pick 100 something, I would have way more rather preferred Jamison Crowder there for you. But I don't hate Ronald Jones. Like, I know he's fallen out of grace. In the beginning, had we done this draft August 1st, Ronald Jones was going like pick 40. The reason for that is that he was elite in USC. Can I get a thank you?
That is fair.
So Ronald Jones in USC was elusive. He was a great guy. They said you feeding me on camera was sexy. Thank you, man.
Sure.
So, and you got one of the rookie running backs. I don't hate the pick. So I know you may have gotten flack for it, and I don't think Barber is good enough to hold on to that job for the year. The only problem with Jones is that it seems like, I want to call him stupid, but he's not adjusting to the NFL quick enough, right? Which is fine, bro. It takes some people years before they can adapt. I think for him, the speed, and he's a quick guy, so it's weird to see a guy feel so, I guess, having people that are on defense that are equivalent to his athleticism and equivalent to his speed is kind of what's throwing him off, and then he's not picking up the offense. But I don't think Barber is good enough to keep that job. The upside is there for him. Yeah, it's weird. Coach says that he knows the plays, but he doesn't. He looks crazy lost, bro. So it's I don't know, man. Like, I think because I don't watch a lot of USC, but I watch Notre Dame. So I've seen them over the last 2 years destroy Notre Dame, bro. And then I saw the bowl game last year. Jones looks legit. Like, when he got drafted, I was like, oh, this kid is gonna be great. So it's weird that he hasn't lived up to it. But 9th round, I don't mind you taking him there. It's just if you have the patience to kind of bear with him, he might not be good for 4 or 5 weeks. But it might just take him getting into practice with the offense. Let's say somebody gets hurt. Yeah, man, stop slowing me down. No, but it's all right, Brandon, because you guys definitely like chilled the entire time. So I'm trying to give y'all the feedback. If you have the patience, I think Jones will be good. Yeah, and the thing is that Barber is not Ingram and he's not Adrian Peterson. So if you can be patient, and I don't want to say that the Kamara upside is there, but I think he has next year where we're drafting him in the top 5 or 4 rounds. Like, I think there's that type of potential. He's a elusive guy. He ran between the tackles last year, and he can catch the ball, and he's quick. So it's weird to see him not be kind of like up to par. Like I said, maybe he's just dumb, and that's not a bad thing. It's just taking him a little bit longer to kind of pick up the playbook, kind of read live situations. All right, está bien. Just let's fix quick. Anyway, yeah, I'm wasting time. Ronald Jones. Then you took John Brown. He got sickle cell. I said this last year. He recovers really slowly from like soft tissue things. He hasn't been able to stay on the field. I like him. It's not that I don't like him. I just think if he has any soft tissue shit, he can be a beast. So he had 1,000-yard receiving year. He's not a beast. A beast, you've done it for more than 1 year. He's been in the league 4 or 5 years now. He's only done it once. And in Arizona, with an offense that, okay, if he's healthy, he's healthy. Doesn't mean that's gonna carry. He was healthy last year. So, but the upside is there. He's technically the number 2 receiver in Baltimore. He can be a deep threat for Flacco, who just likes to throw the ball up and let the receiver get it. I don't have a problem with Brown. However, Rashard Matthews, hate. So he's been in the league 6 years. He's had 1 good year. That 1 good year was like 4 years ago. 945 yards, 65 catches, 9 touchdowns. Since then, he hasn't even come close to that. Then you took the James Washington. I was like, good upside. I can't hate on the upside. You just talked about him earlier. I guess you were planting the seed in my head. I didn't realize that you had him. No problem with Washington. Then you took Murray, and I said Dalvin Cook isn't a guarantee. So if anything were to happen to Dalvin Cook, you have a good one. Actually, we were talking about Deion Lewis and Tevin Coleman. He's probably the 3rd or 4th top backup in the league right now. And it doesn't hurt to have him if you have, if you can handle keeping him. I don't know who you drop to pick up certain people. I know you've made a lot of moves. I don't even know if you still have him on your team. Then Hopkins as a kicker. I'm not going to say anything bad. And then, yeah, so you had a good, I won't say good. Good is I'm overstating it. You had a decent draft. There was a lot of picks, not a lot. How do I even phrase this? So I'm going to give you a team. So you got a C. I'm giving you just a C. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. It was like you passed the class. Like you're going to be in playoff contention, but there's legit 3 or 4 guys that I cannot stand on your team. And then there's guys like Juju, Bell, Howard that I like. And then there's people like Alshon, Edelman that I'm just like blah about. So, yeah, I'm giving you a C. You'll be in contention, and you always make a million moves. So the team that you drafted and then the team that you'll have at the end are completely different teams. So, we're not going to be talking about the same team in 3 weeks. Okay? So I got one more, baby. Brandon, and then that's it. And Brandon's actually been here from start to finish. Like,
God damn you, Brandon, for having the first pick. Shit, man.
All right. No, babe, so eat. Angel said, thank you for your patience.
Shut up. You're the most annoying person, and you're the one person I have not met. God damn.
She said,
half of the reason why we're eating so late is because of you.
No, he said you've been great, babe. So
thank you. It's okay. You're cool.
Your witty banter on the side has gotten you rave reviews.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. All right. So let's finish this up. and then give you guys the rankings. All right, so Brandon, number one pick, the Mixon administration. Good job, Brandon. That was good.
That's pretty cute.
It's clever, right?
That's
It's a. I wish I came up with that.
He's pretty clever with his names.
Yeah. So okay, he picked Gurley at number one. You see, you're getting thumbs up, Brandon. That was a good one. I like.
Watt and the Decker was the good one, and then he
Yeah.
came out with this.
You see, he's clever. All right, so Gurley, I just wrote duh. I got no problem with Gurley. Number one, and I drafted him 1 out of 12 in my league. There's really the only concern is he tore his ACL in college 4 years ago. He's been playing ever since, so there's really no concern with him actually. Then you took Kelsey. I don't mind them. I actually said this earlier when just 2 minutes ago when I told Angel that don't feed me, babe. Just you eat, because then it's gonna keep interrupting. I just want to get it. I said Kelsey that I liked him better than Gronk, not because he's better than Gronk as a player, just he's more consistent. Hasn't missed any games in 3 years. 80 yards, 1,000 receiving. 80 catches over 1,000 yards each year. I got no problem with him. Then you took Mixon with the third pick. Babe, you gotta let me finish because now I'm gonna be mad distracted.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose.
Okay, so what was I saying? Just to finish Kelsey. So back-to-back 83, 85 yards and over 1,000 receiving yards. And then there's still room for improvement because he's never really stood out with the touchdowns. So Kelsey only had what was it? I didn't even write it. No, I can't even find it. Whatever. So Kelsey is like a standout, and you didn't take a receiver there, but he stands out, and I think you have value there. And since 2015, he played at least 15 games per. So the last 3 years, he played every game. Yes, Kelsey the God. Joe Mixon, I love the upside. I said no beef with taking 2 running backs in the top 3, as long as you kind of made up for it with wide receivers. Unfortunately, you didn't do that, Brandon. So this is where kind of your draft kind of falls apart. You can take 2 running backs early, but then the wide receivers that you took, but we'll get there. So I like Mixon's upside. I think wide receiver was deep, so you could have. I think Victor did this way. He took a lot of people actually did 2 running backs early and then kind of filled out the team with wide receiver. But I don't know why you chose not to do that. That's kind of what your weakness is going to be in the draft. No, I think Mixon's talented. I think just to kind of answer your statement, Angel, I think the thing about Mixon is that line is a little bit better. He has the job 100%. If you remember last year, there was a lot of a timeshare. Jeremy Hill was still there at the beginning of the year. Then even when he finally kind of took over the job, he wasn't 100% healthy. So you had a lot of when Hill got cut. No, I don't know if he got cut or if he had a season-ending injury. Nah, bro. I think we'll disagree on this. I think Mixon is gonna run away and be a top 10 running back this year. So that's a prop bet. And I don't even really want to waste a lot of time. He can receive the ball in Oklahoma. He had just as much big plays receiving that he did as just a running back, like a rusher. So what are you saying, Angel? I don't get what your point is. Okay, so I'm going to let Angel get his point out about Mixon. I'm going to move on and then go back to what Angel is saying. But I think Mixon's upside is amazing. I think he's a solid player. He's not just a rusher. He can be a 3-down back. I think he's going to be all right. Let's see. And then, okay, Marvin Jones. I actually strongly dislike him. That's your number 1 receiver. So I was like, I don't think he hits 1,000 yards. He did hit 1,100 yards last year, but he averaged 18 yards per catch. That's like unsustainable. Like that's like elite. Like Calvin Johnson probably did that a couple years. to bring up another Detroit Lion. There's no so it's super unsustainable. I think Kenny Golladay takes a step up. I think Golden Tate just does what he does, and he eats up a lot of target share. So I think Marvin Jones kind of came out of nowhere the last couple of years. And 2 years ago, he came close to that 1,000-yard mark. Last year, he surpassed it. I don't think he goes over that this year. He might be close, but as your number one receiver, I think that's kind of like iffy for him to be that guy. Yeah, exactly what I just said. And then I said you took Ingram, who I love the upside, but then I hate the composition of your team so far. So you had three running backs, one receiver, and the receiver is kind of iffy, really iffy receiver. So I just meant that he's super strong, like he can be Gurley, but even in the preseason, he looks like the guy from last year. I mean, I can agree. Look, so I haven't watched a lot of preseason ball. Like I said, I hate preseason ball. Yesterday alone, I watched 3 full college football games. So I love college. It's not that I don't like football. I just hate preseason ball, and I'm missing this LSU game. So let me get through this. But I think Mixon's upside is amazing. He could potentially be like Gurley, but I don't think he has that Gurley number one upside. I think he could be a top 10 running back, maybe even top 7, 8. You know, he could push Hunt. Those guys right there along the end of the first round. Hunt, Kamara, Gordon, McCaffrey, Freeman. Like he can surpass that group of guys that's going after like around the turn there. Ingram, I love. You're gonna have to be patient, but I love the upside there. And it's a contract year for him. So once he comes back, I think he's gonna be good. Then you took Cam Newton. So not that I have a problem you taking Cam, it's just you have no receivers at this point. So you're passing up elite level receivers to take Cam. He's a guy with great upside. He gets rushing touchdowns. The potential is there for him to be a top 3 quarterback the way he was 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Should he have taken Juju over Ingram? He had the running backs. He didn't have to take Ingram there. So actually, I think Juju would have been a better look for your team. Actually, and we can do this at every pick, Angel, if you want to. Like you can put a receiver that went in that round that he didn't pick, and I'm gonna say the receiver that he didn't pick. So yeah, but Brandon. So the thing is, not elite, but you needed bodies that could play. So that's like your receivers, and we're gonna get to it. You took Kenny Stills, who's never been a 1,000-yard receiver. He's been in the league 5 years, and his high is 931, which isn't far off. And yes, he has potential, but I wrote as your number 2. That's you reached hard. Like I think he could as a number 4, like your flex, somebody that you're counting on your bench. There's no question. Like I like having him on a team, but to count on Kenny Stills as like your number 2 receiver, bro, you're at such a disadvantage. Like this, it's just a really bad disadvantage. Then you took Golladay, who I like, while mentioning Marvin Lewis. Why am I blanking on his name?
Jones.
Yeah, Marvin Jones. Thank you, man.
Okay.
Marvin Jones. I said I love Golladay. He's Babytron, quote unquote. He's a big guy. That's all right, Angel. Thank you for sticking around so long. And I'm gonna put this up. I'm almost done. So I'm sure Brandon will post the order of the. I'll post it too. Bro, Cooper Kupp is good. I'm gonna go. So we'll play this game, Brandon. So I'm gonna look around where you took the last couple of guys that I just mentioned. So you took Cam. I'll play this game with you, Brandon, since you're here. So let's find Cam. Cam was number 76. All right, so 72, and even before that, when you took Ingram. So Juju, Robert Woods, Marquise Goodwin, Sammy Watkins. I don't like Sanders that much. I don't like Cobb that much. Devin Funches, who's a number one. Even you may not love him, but he's still a number one. Corey Davis, Michael Crabtree, Robbie Anderson. Then you took, but those are all guys that went from Ingram to when you took Cam. So I know there's a lot of this 24, 23 picks in between, but just to recap, Juju, Woods, Goodwin, Watkins, Funches, Corey Davis, even Robbie Anderson, who I don't love, but you needed receivers, would have been better than maybe taking Ingram there at that point because you didn't need another running back. Then from Cam to your very next pick, so Cam to Galladay. Oh, no, well, Stills. You took Stills. You're right. I don't like Garcon. I like Fuller. So Fuller, Cup, and Kelvin. Even no. So okay. So I see your point. From Stills to Galladay is not horrible. I just think then the Ingram and Cam pick is Ingram. The Ingram pick is where you kind of dropped the ball in. I can agree with you that the Cam pick and the Stills pick weren't bad. I think before that, you could have had a better receiver. Oh, Angel's so sweet. He thanked me for doing the review. You're welcome, Angel. So okay. No, yeah, he's a sweetheart. So what happened? Oh, Angel's not on that board. He didn't do baseball with me. He only does football and basketball.
Oh.
I'll show you Angel later.
I'm tempting you.
Okay, so all right, Brandon, but you feel me? Like I think we can agree that the Ingram pick is where you kind of like could have had a better receiver. Then you took Galladay, Babytron. I have no pick with him there. And then even so after Galladay, had you taken a couple of receivers, it's like, bro, you filled up your 3 receivers and then did not take another receiver. So this is why your team takes a major hit because it's like, bro, there was Ridley, there was the kid from that I drafted from the Carolina Panthers, the one that they drafted, Ross, Mike Williams. There's there's so many guys that went after Galladay that you could have like filled out at least the back end of your receiving core, like with high upside guys that you're like, okay, you're not starting them every week, but if any of them would hit, it's like lottery tickets. Yeah, you got your 3 receivers, and even your 3 receivers aren't great, but had you kind of like taken any one of those lottery tickets, I'm like, okay, at least you got lottery ticket this person, but you didn't do that. So you took, and I get it. So you took Njoku. You didn't really need a second tight end because you went tight end early, but you took Njoku maybe as trade bait. Excuse me, to potentially try to get them to other teams. But like, so I'll just read off the receivers I went with late, and just to give you an idea of what I'm saying: Michael Gallup, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, bro, and those are the people I took. Ridley, Mike Williams. There was so many guys that went after you took that Galladay pick that if any of those guys hit, James Washington, the kid from that Freddie took from the Bears, Geronimo Allen. It was too many guys that you passed up on that it kind of like, that's what kind of it makes your team like a little bit flawed. So Njoku is great. Don't get me wrong, because I see what you're doing there. You're gonna trade him. Hopefully, you get a good value for him. Then you took Breida. Then you dropped him. Then you got him back. So the Breida pick was good. I cannot bait. And then you have trade bait as well with Breida. Then you took Thompson from the Washington as your 5th receiver. Not bad, but you don't need 5 running backs. That's the other thing. You have 5 running backs, 3 receivers. what are you doing, bro? Like, that's the question mark. Like, I know you're gonna be really active. So, okay. So at that point, you're just going through value and you're just trying to get trade pieces. I get it. I just, if I'm only grading the draft, right? So I can't grade what you're going to do in the future. I can only grade what you did in the draft. And that's where the question marks come. It's not that, like, I agree that Thompson, Njoku, Breida were all really good, like, pickups. Had you not had 4 running backs already or 3 running backs, look at how many teams are short on back. No, you're right, bro. So then that's the thing. I trust you as an owner to make trades going forward. I'm just saying, if I'm grading your team off the draft alone, it's super questionable. Like, I don't like going into a draft or leaving a draft saying I need to make 3 trades for me to be a competitor. You get what I'm but Brandon, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not you got great picks, but you're not. Who wants to leave a draft saying, shit, I need to make 4 trades or 2 trades before my team is good at wide receiver? Like, you could have just picked up wide receivers during the draft. Like, that's kind of where and that's kind of where your weakness was during the draft. Like, it's like I mean, you've pitched trades to me, and I didn't dislike the trade. I just you know what I mean? Like, I didn't love it either. So, and I'm sure you're gonna get somebody to bite, but that's not the way I go into a draft. I try to build as balanced a team where I'm not weak at I'm not super weak. Like, I punted tight end, but that was because I thought I could stream tight end. You understand? Like, and there's no major running back, receiver, even quarterback. I went high with quarterback. I don't feel like I'm like I there's a weakness there, right? So I think your weakness is a bad one because you need receivers in this type of league. So then you took Tucker and you took the Eagles. So just to kind of round off your draft, I like the Eagles. We talked about them kind of indirectly here and there. I think they have the potential to be another Jaguar. So I mentioned that about Houston. I think the Saints. So Saints 1, Eagles 1, 2, Jaguars kind of 4 to 3 or 4. But it's that those top 3 are going to be amazing. So if you have the patience to kind of hold on to the Eagles, bro, Eagles, Jags, Saints, all at the top. You got Tucker, who's a great kicker. Then you took Alex Smith, and I was like, why? Because you got a great quarterback. And then you dropped them already, so I'm not going to waste too much time on that. Let's see. Yeah, so you got Cam. There's no need for Alex Smith during the draft. So I wrote, there's a lot of work to do. So during the draft, like, you had 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 3 receivers. That's not like, whatever. I don't write formulas for this type of league, but I think that's kind of where, when looking at your draft, I wanted to like it because I love Mixon. I like Gurley. So I thought top end you were good. I love Kelsey too. So your top 3 picks are up there with anybody's picks in any of those 3 rounds. But then from there on out, I'm kind of questioning where you went with the draft. So I gave you let's see. What did I give Angel? Because it's all relative, right?
Angel got a C.
Angel got a C. So unfortunately, Brandon, you got a C minus. Let's see. Brandon's laughing. Nah, bro, but you gotta but he gotta understand why I did that. He don't got no receivers, babe. This motherfucker.
Who are his receivers?
Okay, so his receivers, just to recap.
Sorry.
No, yeah, okay. So look, it's Marvin Jones,
Okay.
Kenny Galladay,
Okay.
and Kenny Stills.
Okay.
Exactly.
And he has 5 running backs. Yeah.
6 running backs.
Oh yeah, you gotta see my guy. You gotta see minus.
He said I was expecting a good grade.
No. Yikes, dude.
All right, so Brandon says you're the only one here. You're gonna kind of have to deal with this.
Good with the Mixon.
No, he started great.
Yeah.
I told him he started
Sorry,
great.
Brandon.
Sorry, Brandon. All right, so let's see. Hold on. All right, let me just put up. I'm just gonna finish this up. All right, Brandon. Oh no, he said I wasn't expecting a good grade. Okay.
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 Good shit.
Thank you for
That's
knowing.
honesty.
All right, so I'm gonna go 12-1 and kind of work my way from there. So I had Eric finishing 12th. That's why he got the F/D, a D minus. Well, okay. So look, actually, let me kind of re-say this because people make a lot of trades, make a lot of pickups. This is your draft. What your draft was kind of. I don't think this is the way it's gonna finish at all. So don't bite my head if at the end of the year this is different. People are already making a lot of moves, but I thought Eric had the 12th worst draft, Renee 11, Antonio 10. Oh shit, you're right. I have to say the grades. Yeah. Damn, I gotta work my way back. Give me a second, guys. Let me write this down. Thank you, babe.
Co-host.
Good
co-host. There's no secret scroll out here, bro.
Good job. You did good. I wrote them down on the page.
No, I know. You should say you didn't write them down there.
Should I remove my team? That's weird.
No, I mean you should actually. You just gotta be fairly honest.
All right, Brandon. So you're gonna deal with me. I'm gonna just go over my thing. This is 3 hours long. Man.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so 11 o'clock.
No, well, yeah, guys. So for the I've been here since like 10 in the morning writing out the notes.
No quality time. Okay.
Babe, but tomorrow we doing it all day. Anyway, so
I got work. I gotta be there on Tuesday early. It's my first day. I have to sit up my classroom.
Anyway, we shouldn't have this argument here. So,
who's arguing?
I thought you were gonna be here tomorrow.
During the middle of the day, and then I'm gonna leave in the afternoon.
Anyway, guys. So, all right, I took DeAndre Hopkins at 10. I don't know. Okay, so that's a crazy value. There's no reason why he fell to me at 10. The running back, the thirst for running backs was crazy. So I think he was the number 1A to Antonio Brown's B. But DeAndre Hopkins at 10, I'm happy with that. Then I took Melvin Gordon at 15. They can hear you, man. Melvin Gordon at 15. A guy that was going late first round, early second. Got no problem with him. And it's hard for you guys to argue those top two picks. Amari Cooper is probably the first reach, which guys were saying that it was a reach. I get it, but I'm buying into a guy that had 2,000-yard receiving seasons before he turned 23. A guy that is gonna be the no doubt about it number one, but no more Crabtree stealing his thunder. I think Jordy Nelson's okay, but a role player at best. I think Martavius Bryant may be a threat, but he's somebody that hasn't been able to be consistent going forward. I think Cooper is. Nah, I'm doing my review now. Snap. Brandon's like, do the ranking first. I'm gonna get through this quick because I don't want to waste too much time. But Cooper and John Gruden's offense, John Gruden has always had, every year that he was a coach, 1,000-yard receiver. I don't think that changes, and I think Cooper is the guy. Derrick Henry, 39th pick, another person you guys said I reached for. I do not think that without DeMarco Murray in that team, there's nothing but upside for Derrick Henry. He's shown in little stints that he can be a beast in the playoff, especially the playoff game, especially last year. Towards the end of the season last year, he took over that job, over 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was a beast. Marquise Goodwin, another guy you guys said I reached for. I like these guys, so I took him where I needed to take him. He's no doubt about the number one target to Jimmy Garoppolo. It has continued this preseason. I think he has 1,000 yards, 5 to 6 touchdown potential, and getting him in the 5th round as my third receiver. No, yeah, I mean, you guys can argue it. So after looking up everybody's team and then reviewing my team, I kind of was like, oh, I don't love it, but like it's a solid team. Like I think there's very few spots. It's super upside heavy. There's not a lot of high floor guys. So I guess that's where people can say that that's my weakness. But the upside I have on most of these guys is you got a lot of upside. So I took Deshaun Watson. It's the earliest I've taken a QB. I wanted him on one of my teams. I know the next draft that I have, they take quarterbacks way too early for my liking. So this year I had him in the 6th round. Yep, 6th round. it was the end of the no, actually beginning of the 6th round, but a couple of quarterbacks had already gone. I had no problem taking Deshaun Watson there. His upside is potential number 1 player in at quarterback. He showed it for those 5 to 6, 7 games that he played last year. The upside is ridiculous. Actually, 8 games that he played last year, and he took over the middle of the game, the first game. Kerryon Johnson. So that's kind of a weird setup there. They got 3 receivers. I don't think Blunt has anything to kind of hold them back. I don't think they already released Amendola. It's really about Riddick and Kerryon to me. I think Kerryon they drafted him early. He's going to be a good player. Let's just see. He was selected in the 2nd round by Detroit. He was in Auburn. He was a beast. I knew that's why I took him. I remember him in college. Then Tariq Cohen, he was a playmaker on that offense. So if that offense takes a step up, he might be a guy just like James White in the Patriots that lines up in the slot, that gets a lot of catches. I mean, and worst case scenario, he's my 4th running back. Yeah, he's my 4th. So I'm not expecting a lot from him. If he does anything, he's a good fill-in, a bye-week fill-in. Then I took Michael Gallup, who I know Hearns is technically the number 1. Michael Gallup has all the upside in the world in Dallas. Dallas is going to need him to be something relevant for them to be even decent. Then I took DJ Moore, another guy that technically has somebody in front of him. Funches is good. He's never been great. Funches is definitely a dude that is a big body that can catch in the red zone, but he's never been anything more than a possession guy. This guy, DJ Moore, has big play potential. Then I took the Jaguars D. So in this draft, I did a couple of weird things. I took a quarterback really early, and then I took the Jaguars in the 11th round. So I don't think that was much of a reach. I had seen them in a lot of mock drafts. In my other drafts, they went in the 90s, like pick 8, 9, 10th round. So to get them as late as I did, you can kind of argue, but they were the number 1 team last year. They didn't lose much in the offseason. I think they only lost 1 player. And the team was studly last year. So I didn't mind kind of so far, quote unquote, reaching. They were great there. I took Chris Godwin, who Angel was kind of tooting his horn earlier in the review. He finished the season last year on fire. So, and he seems to be a good talent. And nothing more than a late round fly. I took Charles Clay. I already dropped him. I'm going to probably just stream tight ends. I think there's streamable guys. If I hit with any of them, if let's say just Eifert, who I picked up, does anything, then I'll be all right. Christian Kirk. So Fitzgerald is old. Christian Kirk was drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round. In the 2nd round of the draft, he was fantastic in college. Late at Texas A&M. He was, I think he had over 100 catches or something crazy in his last year in college. I got no problem with a late round flyer on a guy. The 2nd to last pick of my draft. And then I took Bucher as a kicker. Who cares about kicker? But he's a decent kicker who did all right last year. So now that I'm glad you like Goodwin. I had to drop George, but that was great. Okay.
Get the strap.
All right, so let me finish this up now. So that was my review. If I'm giving myself a grade, where did I fit myself? So I did X get. Yeah, so I'll give myself B to B minus. So I don't have a lot of floor. Like this is the definition of my draft the last couple of years has been I draft high upside guys, and that's pretty much it. Like a lot of the guys are unproven on my team, so I know how that can be. I have a super high risk, high reward type of team. So I don't like. I'm not a off the gates. I'm not a championship contender. I think a lot of things have to kind of fall right for me to be there. But I'm not far off either. Like I think I have value at every position except tight end. I really don't care about tight end that much. I think I can stream it. I got the best defense. I got what could be the best running back. I'm sorry. The best quarterback, I meant to say. Then my running backs ain't the best, but I got what could be the best wide receiver. So Hopkins, Watson, the Jaguars. I got elite at all those positions. And then I kind of filled the back end of it with a lot of depth. So I have no problem with my draft. I think, I'm happy with how it kind of worked out. Had to drop George, but that was great. All right, so let's just kind of go over the last review. And then if you give me just a second to kind of fill out what I gave everybody as a grade so that it makes sense when I'm giving where they finish in, the draft order type of finish. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Next year I'll have this done before. All right, guys. So thank you for being so patient with me.
Peace out.
Let me just finish this up. Eric with a F/D-, number 12.
That's cold.
Renee with a D, number 11.
Fuck.
Antonio with a C-/D, number 10.
That's what you get for picking Saquon up so early.
Brandon with a C-, number 9.
6 receivers, bro.
Running backs.
Sorry.
Angel with a C, number 8.
I don't remember you, bro.
Freddie, number 7 with a C.
Damn, Freddie.
Darwinson with a C+/B-, number 6.
Okay, above average.
Xavier with a B/B-,
Okay.
number 5. Myself, Jorge, with a B-/B-, number 4. Isaac, A-/B+,
You took
number
a kicker
3.
in the 8th.
No, that was Renee.
Oh, wow. That's why you got the D.
Yeah, that's why he got the B. Then Victor, number 2, with an A/A-.
Okay, man.
And the person I thought had the best draft, Gabriel, with an A, number 1. Let the talk start. And after 3 hours and 13 minutes.
No. Add since 11 o'clock.
Well, yeah, and then since 11
Prep
o'clock this
time.
morning for prepping for this
You
marathon.
better appreciate this shit.
Word. Thank you, babe.
Fuck.
Come over here and show your face.
No, wait.
No, baby, show your face so they know who you're talking to. Just put your titties away. Man. Babe, stop the domestic violence. We're on YouTube, babe. This is not good. Come over here. Come over here. Stop. Just show your face.
Hello.
My co-host, who nobody got to see.
Secret girl.
Yeah. That should be your team. That should.
Secret girl.
Anyway, guys, signing out. I missed most of the LSU game. I hate you guys.
Facts.
Bye.
Super facts.
You sure you want to end the stream?